Arkansas Select Volleyball Club focuses on personal and athletic development of our student athletes and creates a safe, positive, and effective learning environment in which student athletes strive to achieve individual excellence within a team dynamic. We view the volleyball court as our classroom, transformed to teach lessons of character, discipline, respect, responsibility, accountability, commitment, leadership, work ethic, teamwork, courage, integrity, communication, the importance of sacrifice and sportsmanship, plus many other important values on and off the court. Search Arkansas Select Volleyball online or visit our Facebook page, Arkansas Select Volleyball, to find out more.
And finally, a Central Arkansas success story. A salute to my friends of the Natural State Sports Network.
Few people are enjoying calling high school games more than Steve Henson.
25-20, 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6. What a play by the Coyote.
So much fun to be able to call the game with that excitement. The parents love it, the fans love it, the kids just absolutely eat it up. We could get him involved more. That kid's, he's got a ton of talent.
Steve and his partner, Will Watkins, who Steve calls the mastermind, did their first game 5 years ago. Fast forward to 2025, 5 schools now have contracts with the Natural Sports Network.
It was one of those things where, you know, when we started doing it, we had no idea what we were doing. So it was like, hey, we'll do it, and if people think it's cool, then great. There's no way you could have gotten me to believe that we'd be where we are today and the impact we've had.
Good decision by the Bears to hold it right there.
Oh! And they take pride in the quality of their broadcasts.
We want to be able to put out something that's not just, you know, anybody can, with the advent of Huddle and everything else, anybody can put a stream out now. But we want something that that the viewer can enjoy, and from commentary to the angles to the cameras.
The Hornets are headed to Bank of the Ozark Arena on Saturday.
They say the guy behind camera, Will Watkins, searches YouTube on how to do games. And he's been the mastermind behind the whole deal. But
it's quality product.
Yeah, it's a great team over there.
Okay, good stuff, Sully. Thanks very much. We'll be right back.
running through that. All right. Welcome to day 2 of Big Miller Football Media Days here at First Community Bank. My name is Kyle Sutherland. On behalf of everyone, I want to thank you for tuning in, also watching yesterday. It is, for those who have looked outside, it's a little nasty out, so we do ask for patience today as some things could get moved around. That's why we're getting started a little bit early. But before we get going with Palestine Wheatley, I want to thank again First Community Bank for their hospitality. This is the 3rd year in a row that they have given us a roof over their head, and we're probably more thankful for it today than we've ever been. Also, Blue Ember Smokehouse for providing lunch to our staff yesterday, and Arkansas Select Volleyball is also hosting. I want to give a shout out to Fox 16 News, who will be providing our lunch today through Chick-fil-A as well. So, with that being said, I will go ahead and welcome up head coach Tyler Pascal to introduce the players that he brought with him and give his opening statement.
All right, how we doing today? To my right, Raider McCoy, defensive end. This is his 2nd year up here. Defensive end, he will tote the pill this year some. He has earned that right. He's done a heck of a job since I've been here, but he is a really good defensive end. Easton Vaquero, last year he was Mr. Sure Hands for us. This year he will be quarterback, and he will play some DB, okay? Dalton Lawrence, he is O-line, D-line, and you never know. Goal line package, he might have to tote that ball a little bit too. We've been talking about it for a little while, so we might can make it happen. And last but not least, Mr. Adrian Cooper, running back, linebacker. Yes, sir.
Fellas, first off, love the coordination here. That's awesome. So it's a great way to start the day. So, Coach, each year you've climbed more wins. Last year got a 500 season, so and you got a lot coming back. So I know there's a lot of excitement there within your program. So just kind of talk about the progress that you've continued to see through the past few years.
Yes, we are making strides in the right direction. It's not where we want to be at all. So we've been talking about what's our goal, and I'll ask these guys, y'all can answer it. What's our goal?
State champ.
State championship, okay? That's always the goal. I'm excited the direction we are going and we have gone. This year, I believe we're going to put it all together. This offseason has been really, really good. We went to the state weight meet this year, and in 3A, we placed 3rd behind Mansfield and Charleston. And it was a really good state weight meet. First time Palestine Wheatley's gone there. This summer, we have gotten after it. And you can ask them later. The running has, we've turned it up a notch. I think I said that last year, but definitely turned up a notch this year. There's a lot of buzz. There's more people in the community excited, wanting to help out, and that's what it takes for us to reach our goal. But we've been putting in the work. They've been putting in the work, showing up, and we are really, really excited about this season.
Well, guys, we'll start down here. Just elaborate on that a little bit. You know, I know there's going to be a lot of teams that we're going to hear, state championship and things like that for, but I also know the cloth that your head coach is cut from. So I know those words definitely mean something. So talk about just what Coach was saying with the offseason and all the work that you guys have put in and how you feel like you're ready to take that next step.
Yeah, we've been definitely kicked it up a notch this summer with working out and running. He's really put us in the right direction to go be a state championship team, and that's what I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, like he said, the workouts this summer have been pushing us to be a little bit better than we were last year, a little bit stronger than we were last year. Yeah, we're going to be a pretty good team.
Yeah, this summer we've done a lot more than we have the past couple of years. It started this off season especially, nonstop every day, working as hard as we can. I really think this year we could do a lot more than we normally could.
Going off what everybody else said, Coach Pascal has pushed us the most he ever has in these going into 3 years, so I think we'll be ready for the season.
Just looking at the schedule, the first 2 games, you play your former program, Des Arc, and then also play Cross County. Now, your father is not there anymore, but
Yeah.
We'll point out the 2 Pascal Bowls that you did play him in, you hold a 2-0 advantage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Start with Desart. That's what we've been focusing on because that is week 0, and that's our first game. It's exciting. They used to play each other, Palestine, Wheatley, and Desart, back in the day, and we got them back on the schedule. So I think both programs are excited to play each other again. They're a really solid football team. They always are. But we're ready for that challenge. We're ready to play them. We'll be going to Desart, first game on their new turf, actually, this year. Cross County, obviously a great program. Old VP, he brought home the 2A ring. Yes, sir. Shout out to him. Basketball, I know everybody has fun with it. Now that he's gone, we won't talk crap, but we can say that last year I said it was just another game, and that's true. It's just another game on our schedule. But I'm not gonna lie, we got very excited for that game because it is a rivalry now.
Yeah. Well, then you look at just the beginning. Of course, you've got Jonesboro Westside closing out non-conference play, but like Hoxie, Walnut Ridge, Osceola Rivercrest. I just think of athletes, great coaching, really just through those games right there. So you're going to find out in the non-conference a little bit about what your guys are about, but especially really tested early in conference play that first month.
Yes. Our first 4 games, we're playing some ground and pound teams, and then we get into the thick of our schedule right there. Really good programs, really strong conference from top to bottom. But we are excited. We're still going to make some long drives, but we're excited that we're not going down south 3-hour drives every week. We are a little excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. And to the players, just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on just, the probably like really knowing the standards of the program now and everything, and we'll start on this side this time around. Just what is your mindset? Obviously, you guys are just locked in and ready to go, but just compared to, now are you all seniors? Which one?
No. Senior, Raiders senior, Easton senior, junior.
Okay, so but all of you have at least been here for 2 years, so you kind of understand what Coach Pascal is going to demand and all that. So coming in as opposed to maybe like when y'all were sophomores, or I guess in your case, your freshman year when he got here, just talk about the belief within the program, not just from what the coaches have instilled in you guys, but from what you have taken in.
Well, Coach Pascal, he's brought a great culture to the football team. He's been pushing us and stuff like that.
Well, kind of what he said. The culture has changed a lot. Before Pascal came along, we were just basically a baseball school. Now we're still good at baseball, but I feel like football's been a lot more introduced into the culture, and we're just doing a lot better.
Yeah, like he said, the culture is just where it's been at these past couple of years that Coach Pascal's been here. I mean, we didn't have nothing going for us in football before he came. It was just like we just showed up and just kind of did our own little thing. And then when Coach Pascal showed up, it's like, okay, he pushed everybody to make sure we're there, make sure we're doing all the right things, and just everything like that.
Yeah, he really brought the culture. He really did. It used to be like Fridays, heading to school, everybody just talking down on the football team, and we really turned that around as a team with the help of Coach Pascal.
And Coach, going back to all the returning starters that you do have, you got some of your 4 top dogs here with you. Who are some others that we need to watch for this fall?
Okay, we do have a lot returning. I would like to say let's watch out for our offensive line. Everybody has played, and this is the first time, for the most part, the whole line will be back. So I'm excited. Like, since I've been here, we've struggled a little bit with the O-line, but now what we've seen in team camps in this summer, we're the same guys, but we're a lot stronger. We're a lot bigger. So watch out for the O-line. So defensively, these guys right here, they are the meat. But Barrett Mefford, he's a linebacker. Watch out for him. He's done a really good job this offseason. Bryson 3. He plays some D-tackle, defensive end, and he's a tight end. He has had a heck of an offseason. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. New upcomer, Jesse Tracy, could get some defensive end, could earn that starting spot. He's a big boy, about 6'3". He's going to be a really good sophomore. And one more really good sophomore to watch out for is Briar Lacefield, who he's going to be on the field somewhere. So, yeah, we got a good group returning, but I'm very, very excited about our line. And let me echo what they said. I heard Coach Pascal a lot, but it takes everybody, like the coaching staff. Like, it ain't just me. I always just know that. They do a heck of a job, and I believe this year we finally have the coaching staff that I've been searching for and these players have been hungry for. And like yesterday, Coach Davis, he came from Texarkana. He was also off The Last Chance U on Netflix. Great dude, but he brings that energy. And the weight room, like, it has definitely turned up a notch. Coach Bowler, he's our new head baseball coach / football. He's doing a really good job. And he brought some new stuff to our running. And these guys right now, they hate it, but they're going to love it. And, of course, Coach Vaquero does a heck of a job with the offense. And Coach Holloway, he's a really, really good DC. So it takes a village, and we have, as a team, that's what I preach, team, family, family, family. And that's what we're about this year. It's all starting to come together.
That's a perfect segue into my next one because like we've already, even yesterday, the first day, we had a lot of coaches, multiple coaches in here that their programs are completely, not like you said, not where you want to be necessarily, but at a completely different level than when they took over. And I remember, us talking when you took this job and kind of talking about some of the things you were trying to implement. You think about post-COVID, 0 wins, 1 win, 3 wins, 4 wins, 5, and then the 5 last year. So how has that been? It's one thing to go somewhere and have a vision, but to really see that unfold with not just what you yourself had implemented, but also to see the buy-in from the coaches and the players, just to see, and the community, like you said, as well.
It has been special. Taking a team, like you said, just a couple years prior, 0-9, 0-10, first year will be, this is year 3, so first year we made the playoffs in the 3A South, and we ran into a really good Jesséville team. Last year going 500, but we see the confidence growing in the players. And another thing we've been preaching is we got to learn how to finish. We've started off good, but we haven't finished like we want to. But the buy-in has been great. The players, there's going to be days where let's keep it real. There's going to be days where you don't want to be here, but at the end of the day, you're going to love being here. And Friday nights are going to be a lot more fun when we're winning and doing things right. But now these guys have definitely bought in, and they all said it. Like, the culture has changed, and it's not just me. It's these guys having to do the work.
Last one I have, and I felt Chris and Dalton, they reminded me of this yesterday after I had left. I hadn't been asking the golden question of, is there any games that you might have, maybe 1 or 2 that maybe got away from you last year that you felt like slipped away, and we'll start down here again, that you really are looking forward to? I know you're looking forward to game 1 against Desart, but if we're in talking season right now, so is there 1 or 2 maybe conference games or just on the schedule in general?
I would have to say probably Jonesboro West Side, just because it's homecoming, or Hoxie, Harrisburg, really any of them. We're going to go into each game with as much confidence as the last, and we're hoping to do very well with that.
I ain't got really any games. I'm ready for all of them. Just go in, good mindset, go win the game.
With this new conference that we're in, all the games are all fairly new to us. Just going into with full confidence is about the main thing we're headed for. But Desart's really the only one on my mind. They're week 1.
Probably Osceola. There was a team camp last year. It got crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, fellas. Well, really appreciate you coming down. I think this is, year 3 for you guys. So I've been here since the beginning. Really appreciate you coming over and giving us another opportunity to highlight your team.
Thank you.
All right, up next we got the Hot Springs Lakeside Rams led by head coach Rock Rockwell. And Coach, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Yeah, good morning, and definitely a rainy morning here in Little Rock and all over the state. But we made it here. I'm going to go my left, y'all's right, starting with number 54, Jacob Bowley. He's our center this year, senior, looking for big things out of him on the offensive line. We finally got a number 0. You know, that's the trending thing for kids now, but our number 0 this year is Blake Vincent. If y'all can remember, his brother Ben Vincent caught a lot of touchdown passes for him. So it's his time this year, the shine for the Vincent brothers. Our quarterback that's going to lead us this year is James Hall. Of course, y'all know Wally was a great quarterback, but he graduated, so it's now time for James to step up. And then our 3-year starter, you know, ever since he was a sophomore at the Lake Hamilton game, is Cordarius Jackson. So this is my senior class. We had a lot of great guys last year, 26 of them, and they all played. But now these guys are here, and it's their time.
Yeah, and as you said, had a phenomenal season. I think that was the first time back to the state championship in about 50 years or so. So, you know, I mean, really, 8 wins your first year, then 10 wins the past 2 seasons. I might be a little off base, but I feel like this is kind of similar coming into 24. I remember y'all losing a lot in 23. And so it's kind of a little bit similar, you know, new quarterback and things like that. So just kind of talk about, you know, the buy-in from graduating those seniors and how these guys are ready to get the baton and continue what you guys have built.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, kids graduate in high school football. So, you know, each year, as soon as one group of kids graduate, I'm already thinking about the next one. The good thing about these group of guys, they've been to the show, so they know what it takes to get there. And so, you know, we got a bunch of really, really great sophomores coming up, but they don't know about the work ethic yet. And so I really depend on my senior class. We got 19 of them as seniors in their class to really lead those guys and show them how we play football.
Q, we'll start down here with you. Just talk about going to the show, as Coach said. I mean, it was a great game. I think y'all had played Robinson early in the non-conference, so you're very familiar with them. But just to do that, to be the first team to do that in half a century and represent your hometown and your school.
It was like a good feeling. Just like representing our school, representing like all the talent that is like came out of Lakeside.
You know, going without 50 years to that state championship is really cool to be part of that and to be part of a state championship running team.
All right. You know, it was really like a surreal experience. You know, playing with these seniors this last year, it was like they're really good like role models, and that really just shows like what we can do as a team and where we can go. Especially whenever we always get like put kind of as like the underdogs, you know, somebody always has something to say about our team, and you know, we just push through it.
Like a blessing, really, and like just crazy to go on our junior year. It was just crazy. It was really nice.
Now, you know, this is our center, Jacob Bowley, and he doesn't say a lot, as you can see. But, you know, in the game, sometimes he has a tendency to taunt the other team. So, you know, so don't let his quiet demeanor trick you right there. But all 4 of these guys, they went to the game, went to the state championship game. Of course, we played Robinson twice. But they know the experience and the high level it takes for us to get back there.
So, Coach, I'll look at the schedule, and one matchup that just jumps off the page to me is that non-conference at Benton. Benton, one of the favorites in Class 6A, y'all being one of the favorites in Class 5A. What can you say about your non-conference, how you work that, and then a little bit about your conference slate?
Yeah, what I like to try to do in my non-conference, I got this from my old head coach, great Coach David Reed. You want to try to go hard in your non-conference, and 2 things are going to happen. You're either going to feel really good about yourself because you went hard and won, or you got a lot lot of work to do. So in the non-conference, either way it goes, I've been at Lakeside so long. We've had times where we won all three, and we had times where we lost all three. And so that's just a measuring stick in that non-conference to get us ready for the conference. As you know, the 5A South is different now, man. So it's they moved Parkview up. Then they put Pine Bluff in our conference in the 5A South. And so it's kind of like the old conference when I first got here in 2014, with Whitehall and all those guys. So we're looking forward to getting back into what I call the old 5A South Conference, because the past couple of years playing Parkview every year in conference, that's a hard task. So.
James, wanted to ask you, Wally was phenomenal the past 2 years. Probably still a little bit underrated in my opinion, but whatever.
Very underrated.
Very underrated, yes. And but you've waited your turn. Now it's your senior year. You get the ball. So just kind of talk about how you're ready for that and how your teammates have really rallied around you.
Yeah, I've backed up Wally for 2 years, and he's been a great role model and taught me a lot of things. And being a backup under him was really a good experience. And I think now it's my senior year. I'm ready. I'm ready to lead this team and do anything I can to be back in that position we were last year.
And we'll start with the players down here this time. Just talk about some things, obviously coming off of a historic season. What were some things after the year ended that you just kind of looked at and were like, all right, this is what I need to really focus in and improve on throughout the offseason?
Weight room, got a great weight room coach, and just being a team, having lots of courage, discipline, grit as a team, most likely.
The main thing for me, I would say, it would be that
take your time.
Yeah, would just be like practicing as a team together. It's just a lot of thinking on like how we're gonna move because we're a whole new team this year. Just taking what we learned from last year and helping these underclassmen so we can get in a good spot.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, just the things you've worked on throughout the offseason and just felt like you needed to improve on.
Yeah, attacking the weight room a lot, and it's a lot of new guys, so we had to get back in our playbook and study that a lot more and just get ready.
For me, it would just be like since we're all seniors now, just like getting everybody together, making sure everybody's on the right page.
Yeah, and the guys talked about in the off season. This year, of course, I had a couple of coaches. I got a new staff. A couple of coaches leave. Coach Bradley, he's going to be an assistant principal. But what we're really excited about is our quarterbacks coach, Coach Jeff McBride, is going to be our full-time strength and conditioning coordinator for the whole school district for boys and girls. And so, and that's what they're kind of referring to. He took all the steps to get himself eligible to be the strength and conditioning coach, and so they're excited and he's excited, but it's for the whole district now. We're gonna miss him on the football aspect, but he's been working pretty hard in the weight room.
So obviously, some unfinished business.
Yeah.
You have two 10-win seasons and still looking for a conference title, still looking for a state title. Right. You've had some close games where conference title could happen. You have a state title game where you can capture that. There is some unfinished business, I'm sure, but for the players and you, Coach Rock, as well, what's that one word or phrase that you really rely back on to say, like, this is my motivation just to go to the next day?
Our motto at Lakeside is keep punching, keep fighting. So, and the hotter it gets, even though it's a rainy day today, the hotter it gets, that means it's getting closer to football season. So, we got something to prove to ourselves more than anything, that we're still the same team that we have been the past 3 years. And so that's the thing that I've really tried to push to them. I don't need them to be last year's team. I don't need James Hall to be Wally. Even though I love those guys, I need them to be the best version of themselves. And if they can do that, we'll be just fine. It is unfinished business. It was a great game. Like I've been telling everybody, I wish we could have won it against Robinson, but that wasn't in the cards for us. That wasn't the Lord's will. And so a great champion won with Robinson and Coach Up. But the thing for us is, just keep punching, keep fighting. And when they say spot the ball, Lakeside going to play.
I like how you talked about there, you mentioned your coaching staff. You talked about how you've been at Lakeside in some capacity since 2014. I've talked to enough coaches to know that if you stay at a place for a long time, it's because a big part of it is because you have support. You have support, you love the community. But I think about, you've been on staff for a long time. You've had Taylor Masters there for a long time. You've had Jacob Reynolds. I think this is year 3 or 4 for him. Does a great job with your defense. You brought Bobby Evans on, one of the best defensive line coaches in the state, maybe the country, but definitely the state.
Yeah, let's stick with the state.
But yeah, definitely the state. So just talk about that, being able to keep your coaching staff, because you're going to see guys get promoted and go into other spots, but there's just been so much consistency there at Lakeside.
Well, and then we also got to mention we got one of the best offensive lineman coaches in the state now with Coach David Davenport coming from Lake Hamilton. Lakeside is a great school, great community. That's why I've been there so long. But our coaching staff, even through the junior high, we have fun and we like to work hard, but we do get along and like to kind of get after each other a little bit as a coaching staff. And then we love on the players a lot, and they have fun with us. So just building relationships at Lakeside, our superintendent, that's bigger than the wins and losses, building relationships in the athletic program. And he feels if you do that, then the wins will come, and they have for us.
Sure. All right, guys, wrapping things up here. What's that 1 or 2 games, whether it's not conference, and we're just in talking season here, so we're looking ahead a little bit for this moment. But what is that 1 or 2 games that you got at Q? I know you're ready to roll.
Hot Springs.
All right.
That's it.
Lake Hamilton.
I'm going to go ahead and say the same with Hot Springs and Lake Hamilton. We're playing with a chip on our shoulder this year. We're going to come into the season strong. We're going to take it week by week. Every game is going to be a good one for us, so we just got to make it count.
Yeah. Probably the 2 new non-conference games, Benton and Jonesboro. Pretty excited.
Good answer.
Two really good road trips. So really good road trips. And we've been playing a couple of team camps with Benton. So, and our JV schedule the last really since I've been there, we've always played Benton and JV. So me and Coach Harris got together, and he was like, "Man, let's just do a varsity game." And so it's really close. The gate should be good for everybody because both teams are really good. So we'll see. It should be a good contest.
All right, Coach, fellas, really appreciate y'all coming up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, up next we've got the Poen Indians led by head coach Keith Barrett. I will give it over to you, Coach, to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Good morning. We appreciate you guys for having us here. This is my first time doing it as the head coach. I've been lucky enough to come the past 2 years with Coach Vic Barrett, who is now in administration. But I brought with me Caden Townley, Michael Moranto, Hayden Murray, Leighton Russell. These are all 2 to 3 year starters for us the past couple of years, and we're going to rely heavily on them this year as senior leaders, and just looking forward to a great year.
Well, as you said, you're very familiar with Poen. Been there, really been a key part of helping your brother build the football program and everybody else involved. But I know this is very special to you to be the head coach here. A lot of family that you have working for Poen as well. So just talk about how that transition has been from going from DC to head coach.
Yes, sir. Like I said, like you said, I've been blessed to be here for 14 years. 14 years ago, Mr. Jerry Newton took a chance on Vic, and Vic took a chance on me to bring him with him to build something special, and I feel like we have. Poen's a special place to all of us. I mean, like you said, I have a lot of family that works there. Kind of emotional, but it's a special place, and you can't really describe it. But to be able to take over as the head coach and follow in his footsteps is something that I don't take lightly. Honestly, probably put a little too much pressure on myself to follow in his footsteps because they're big shoes to fill. But I'm truly, truly looking forward to the challenge this year. And I've got great guys. I've got great administration support. And we've got a great team that I feel like we have a chance to compete. And they're going to make my job a lot easier. And my 3 assistant coaches make my job really, really easy. So, I've had Adam Leatherwood and Chad Baxley for 4 years now. We've worked together, and we just hired Blake Benson. And he will be the new member of the staff, but he has stepped in and has done a great job so far already.
You guys, you see the passion with Coach there and what Poen means to him, what coaching you guys means. I mean, you're around him every day, so I don't have to explain that. But we'll start down here. Just talk about how happy you guys were to hear that Coach took over for Coach Vic, and knowing that you were going to still have him on staff.
Well, my opinion is he's not a very good coach. Just kidding, but I was pretty excited. It sucked losing Coach Vic because he's been my head coach for however long I've been playing football, but I was pretty excited to hear when I got Coach Keith as my head coach.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was excited to hear him as head coach, and I was glad that Coach Vic still stuck around, and he'll be at every game, I feel like.
We were all pretty glamorous that he was going to be our new head coach, and it's kind of sad that Coach Vic is not here anymore. But besides that, he's doing a pretty good job right now.
I was pretty excited for the change. Coach Vic's been my coach since I moved to Poen. Him and Keith were both very excited when I came here, and he's been my head coach for baseball the past 3 years. So I know how he operates there, and I'm very excited for the change.
Obviously, Coach, you do return some. What can you say about what you have returning and what you're looking for on the offensive side of the ball? Obviously, former defensive coordinator, so more apt there, but let's start with offense so we can move on to defense.
I'm actually moving to the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to call plays. This year I've called plays in junior high the past 2 years. We've got 3 returning starters on the offensive line, and so we're going to lean on those 3 guys. Michael Moranto and Hayden Murray are returning all-conference offensive linemen. Nate Pennington is a sophomore that we moved up halfway through the year as a freshman, and he stepped up and played bigger than a freshman last year. We moved him up against Hazen, and honestly, as a coaching staff last year, we thought that was kind of the spark we needed to keep guys from having to play so many reps both ways. So offensive line-wise, we've got those 3 guys. We've got to find a center and a right tackle, but we've got a couple guys battling at those positions right now. Gavin Irwin's had a great summer. Garrett Neal, a sophomore, has had a good summer at offensive tackle. Wide receiver-wise, man, we're blessed. We really are. We got Caden Townley returning. He's an all-conference receiver, caught for over 1,000 yards. Pretty sure he's in the state record book now for his performance at Magnet. 12 catches, 300 and something yards, and I don't even remember how many touchdowns, but it was a great night. Walker Smith returns as an all-conference wide receiver, had a little over 600 yards receiving, 7 or 8 touchdowns, I think. And Leighton Russell is a returning receiver and starter at corner for 3 years, and we're expecting big things out of him. He had a big day at 7-on-7 yesterday, and then we've got some young guys, Mason Schuff and a couple young receivers, tight end type stuff we're going to put in this year that we're expecting big things from. And obviously, we've got big shoes to fill at quarterback. I mean, you lose a 2-time All-State, guy that's playing college football, it's big shoes to fill, but we got 2 guys in Mason Camp and Caden Rushing that have battled all summer, and that battle will continue into the fall until one of them takes the reins and the other one will play somewhere else. So.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to ask you about was the quarterback position. It's unique because, Colt Strike, you said 2-time All-State, started for 3 years. And so talk about that. It'd be, if you maybe had him for 1 more year, that would probably make the job a little bit easier, for lack of a better term. But just your first year, and I know you've been on staff for a long time, but just your first year being a head coach and having a quarterback battle, how's that been?
It's been interesting, for sure. Of course, I've been the head junior high coach the past 2 years in called offense, so me and Mason Camp have worked together for 2 years. He started as an 8th grader, broke his collarbone, and then last year had a great year as a freshman. Caden Rushing's a guy that didn't get to play for a while, but has gotten to come back about halfway through the year last year. So he's picking the offense back up and just picking the game of football back up. And, man, it makes it fun. Honestly, having a quarterback battle makes it fun because you get to go to work every day as an offensive coordinator or head coach and know that you're going to see the best from those 2 guys every time they go on the field because they both want to play and they get after it. It makes my job fun, and they're both easy to coach, and they're both just competitors. So it makes it fun.
And looking at your schedule, no disrespect to Mountain Pine or Spring Hill, but I want to fast forward a little bit to Magnet Cove. Obviously, that's a big game for you and Vic, both being alums of there and that rivalry. I've talked to him about it a few times, what it means to him, and I know it's a very friendly rival, all those good things, but how much does it mean to you to see them on the schedule every year and get to play them?
It's fun, and when I got the job, Coach Adams immediately, we honestly thought we may be in a conference together. Weren't sure. When we weren't, Coach Adams reached out, and it's a no-brainer for both of us. Everything we do, our Pee Wee football teams play each other twice a year because of what it does for both communities and what it means to both communities. It's a great game. It's gone in Magnet's favor more times than not, but it's always, no matter what, no matter how big it's made or how the kids on both sides of the ball, on both teams, both sidelines, respect one another. It's a clean game, and it's a fun game to go play. And obviously, you want to win. I want to win if I'm playing checkers against whoever. And that one does mean a little bit more just because of being there. But, again, it's just we take it as another game a lot of times. Try not to put too much pressure on the kids. And from our aspect, because they put enough pressure on themselves as it is. But it's a fun game, and I look forward to it every year.
And to the players, we'll start down here this time. Just talk about some things, maybe 1 or 2 or whatever it may be, that you looked at yourself after the season and were kind of like, all right, this is what I really need to focus on and improve upon.
One of them was my mental aspect of the game. Last year, I had a bad game against Cutter, and it kind of mentally checked me out of the season. And I didn't have the junior season that I expected, the leap I wanted. And this year, I'm just hoping to stay out of my own way and improve.
Well, I think probably pass coverage for offense is what I need to work on more. Trying to not talk to the other teams much. That was a real big deal. Me and Michael, we would
talk over there, and he's like, might need to be quiet a little bit. All right, I will. But I think coming into this year, I have a pretty solid offense with Gunnar Osteen coming back and all that stuff. So I think we'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I always try to keep Murray from not talking to the other teams too much. But my main focus would be probably tackling, getting better. And that's, yeah.
I probably need to work on a little bit of everything, but yeah.
Hey, I liked to talk back in my day too. I get it. So, well, kind of just also looking at the schedule too, Coach. I mean, it's one, you know, a lot of teams you're familiar with. You know, Baptist Prep's expected to be better this year. Hampton's coming off of one of their best seasons in a while. I mean, it's always a really loaded slate there in conference play. So just kind of talk about that.
Absolutely. It's you know, we waited to get the conferences, you know, the new conferences, and we lost Clarendon and picked up Little Rock Episcopal, who made a great hire, and Coach Forte, you know, he brought in Coach Olajibutu with him as the defensive coordinator, I think. So I think they're going to, you know, I think they're going to do big things. And, of course, like you said, Baptist Prep, Coach Perkins does a great job over there. Coach Austin at Bearden does a great job. I mean, this conference is loaded. I mean, and, you know, Hazen just brings in a coaching legend, and Coach Toddy, a guy that I look up to, you know, because of his beliefs and his philosophy. So I feel like he's going to turn. So every week I think it's going to be a battle. You know, Carlisle's obviously the favorite because they return, you know, they're Carlisle. And then I think from there it's a toss-up. You know, I think any Friday night any team can win. You've got to bring your A game. If you don't, you're going to be sad when that last buzzer rings on Friday nights. But it's like I tell those guys every day, our main objective is to go compete. Give yourself a chance to win at the end of the game. Compete, play your hearts out. And that's all I can ask for as a coach. And if they do that, then we're going to have chances to compete in ball games.
All right, guys, I think I probably know the answer to this one, or at least one that you might say. What's that game that you got circled? You know, just not looking past, you know, week 0, week 1, just thinking of the season. What's that 1 or 2 games that you got circled on the schedule?
I'll probably say Magnet.
Probably Magnet.
I'll say Magnet.
Probably Magnet. Big rivalry game.
I'm just ready to play football.
I like it. Go taking the professional route. Love it. All right, guys. Well, really appreciate y'all coming over. I know it was nasty conditions today, but Keith, congratulations on taking over a spot I know that means a ton to you. So great having you guys as always. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank y'all.
All right, up next we have the Haskell Harmony Grove Cardinals led by head coach Josh Smith. And coach, I will pass it over to you to introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
Yeah, all right, thanks for having us, guys. I brought with me 4 seniors that have been around the program for a long time. I mean, I'm talking about from Pee-wees all the way through. We'll start down here. We got Larson Davis. He's a senior offensive defensive lineman for us, 3-year starter. You know, he's been around the block. Barrett Nelson, another 3-year starter. Offensive and defensive line. He thinks he's a receiver sometimes. Because I am. Jackson Estes, he is a Mike linebacker, quarterback, everything else in between, tight end, wing, whatever we need him to do. Another 3-year starter. Bradley Davis, down here, another senior, 3-year starter, mainly linebacker, played a lot of running back for us in the past, but he moved to tight end this year, and he's doing really well there. So these are the 4 guys I brought with us. These are, you know, some of our bell cows that have definitely played a lot of football for us.
Well, you've been on staff in some capacity for a decade, and you're 3 as head coach. And so I think one of the big things heading into the season, you're changing the offense up a little bit. And I think it was more of like kind of a mix between like Mike Malham and Don Campbell through the years. But now that you're switching all that up, how has that installment gone, and just how the players adapted to it?
It's going good. It's going good. You know, we're not completely ditching the T. I mean, we're keeping T concepts. You know, we're just trying to spread the field a little bit, and we got a little bit different athletes coming up through the program right now. We got some guys that we trust that we're able to spread the field and be athletically sound and some stuff we're trying to do. But we're still, I mean, any point in time, we're still going to pack the box too tight and run the T like we did it at camp the other day. And we look, I mean, it's one of those things. These guys have done it for so long, they can do it in their sleep. And so we're getting proficient in the new offense, and we're doing a pretty good job with it. I'm proud of the kids. They've really bought into it, and they're excited about it. And I think we're gonna be able to do a lot of things with it, jumping in and out of it.
You lose a lot of offensive production to Noble. Obviously, you got something to replace there. What is you mentioned a couple running backs, but is it going to be more of a committee running back thing for y'all? Is it just one guy you're looking at?
Yeah, well, we had a kid, Braden Belk. He's going to be the starter at running back for us this year, and he was actually a starter as a sophomore whenever we had to play Jaheim a lot at quarterback whenever Jaheim was a junior, and he ended up blowing his knee out going into his junior year. So he was kind of on the back burner a little bit. He didn't get in a whole bunch of games last year, but he is definitely a guy that we can hand the rock to, and he's going to go get his 3 yards. He's like a bull in a china cabinet. He does a really good job for us, and he can hang on the football. He's going to rush for a lot of yards for us.
And to the players, we'll start down here. Kind of the same question that I'd asked Coach, just about, like you said, not completely going away from what you've been used to, but just adding some things to that as well. So how has that adjustment been for you guys?
I feel like it's been very good, especially on the line. We all have our standard stuff, but we can also adapt to everything that's thrown at us. And especially with it being such a veteran O-line, that we can all come together and just do it right.
Yeah, I'm same way as him. I mean, I trust my guys. You know, we're all, like he said, veterans. So, I mean, I trust everybody, you know, coming from an offensive line stance. It's different when you got your hand in the ground like a defensive lineman, and then you're having to switch to more of a slowed down offensive, like an inside zone, running plays type deal, instead of just getting to your spot real quick. But I trust all my guys to lock in, have a great season.
Like Barrett said, you know, I've moved around positions a lot, but I trust all my guys around me, all other 10 guys. And I know that they're all going to put their head down and work. And I know that we're all going to do what we need to do and do what's asked of us.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off of Barrett there. It's just like trusting our guys day in, day out, you know, knowing what to do. There's no other guys I'd rather put my hand in dirt with in the United States than them.
Coach, you're hearing a lot of answers about, you know, I'm willing to do what it takes for my teammate, and I played multiple, you know, between 2 and 4A, it's very common to play multiple positions, especially, you know, just to be able to hear that from them and knowing, and I know you know that they're team players, but just hearing that they're willing to just do whatever it takes for the team to win, how much pride do you take in that?
Man, it's awesome. This group of seniors, you know, they were there as sophomores whenever I first took over, and I mean, we were a young football team that first year, and we took some lumps, and you know, they came out. We still ended up making the playoffs that year, and they've been through the fire, and they have seen the worst of the worst and the best of the best, and you know, they're one of the most fun groups that I've ever coached, and I'm extremely proud that they have been with me from the start of this, and this is their senior year, and I'm really hoping that all these seniors can go out with a bang this year because they deserve it. They worked their butt off, and they deserve it.
Definitely. And just taking a peek at your schedule, I mean, you got a really good 3A team in Bismarck that you start with. Malvern and Coach Fogelman always have athletes, and Pottsville's always, which I guess y'all were previously in the conference with, or
Yeah, that was 2 cycles ago.
okay,
Yeah.
so at one point, I get it all mixed up. But and then we'll get into conference play here in a second because I know you're coming out of that 4A7. But you know, obviously, you want to find out who you are your first 3 games and kind of figure things out before the games really start counting towards postseason. And so, just kind of talk about what went in the schedule in those games.
Yeah, those first 3 games, you know, we selected that non-conference. We're not trying to, you know, just go out and get easy wins with our non-conference. We want to figure out who we are those first 3 weeks and what we need to be more proficient at or fix, clean guys up, whatever it may be. We want to make sure that we hit all those scenarios before we get into conference play because that's when it really matters. You know, we're starting out with Bismarck there. They're a really good 3A football team, obviously. You know, Coach Keithley, he does a great job over there. I mean, it's incredible just how sound and how far they've came. And that's one of those games that, you know, whenever we got on schedule, we both knew that we needed to play each other. You know, it was just something that it'll do nothing but help both of us out. And we've scrimmaged for the last 6 or 8 years. I can't even keep up with it now. And the Malvern game, you know, we've played them for the last 6, 8 years almost now. And that's going to be one of those games where we're going to see some speed against Bismarck, but Malvern, it's going to be amped up a little bit, you know. So that's going to be one of those games that if we can adjust to the speed and Coach Fogelman's scheme, because he does a great job, great guy. You know, we're going to know a little bit more of who we are and the guys we got in places if we got to move people to keep up with speed. And then that last game, that 3rd game against Pottsville, you know, that game might be over in an hour. I don't know, you know. So let's go in shotgun a little bit more because I think they're going to go back to more of a double slot, and we're going to still be in some form or fashion of the T, just maybe a little bit of gun stuff. But that will be a smash-mouth football team because they don't shy away from it just like we don't, you know. So that we're looking forward to that one. I enjoy playing those guys.
So moving out of the 4A7, I mean, there's 2 things. I played in that conference when it first started 20 years ago. And there's 2 things that I've noticed. People have called it the SEC West of 4A, and there's obviously a lot of traveling involved too. Now I know you're just ready to play the team that's in front of you, but I imagine it seems like there's a little bit less travel involved in this conference than what you had previously.
Yeah, you know, this year every Friday we're going to see, you know, just at least a different colored jersey. You know, something that these guys haven't seen in the last cycle, you know. And some of them, we was in a conference with them, I guess 2 cycles ago, with a few of these guys like Clinton and Mayflower and CAC. You know, we was in a conference with them at one point, maybe even there was one more, it seemed like. But so as coaches, some of us, we know kind of what we're going into. They're all sound football teams. They're all great coaches. It's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be level all the way across the board. In our conference, there's not going to be one team that's just going to be night and day, just way better than everybody. But it's going to be a sound conference. It's going to be a really good, just through and through, solid conference.
And to the players, we'll start down here this time. Just what are some things after the season that you kind of looked at just the overall year and thought, all right, this is what I'm going to focus on, maybe 1 or 2 things that you felt like you needed to focus on throughout the offseason?
I think after some of the games, I noticed I'd have a feeling, you know, that what if I'd done a little bit more? You know, what could I have done differently? And I think this year I want to know that I left everything out there on the field.
Like he said, I've tried to work on my conditioning a lot because I don't want to come off the field senior year. I hate coming off the field. I like to stay on the field and be able to be there for my teammates and work hard for them.
Same thing as Jackson down there, just conditioning. You know, I've always been big my whole life, so it's just been trying to get in shape because, you know, as a lineman, we don't like running, you know. Running makes us feel sometimes like a marshmallow, you know, sometimes. So just being in shape just because, like he said, I don't want to come off the field. I hate when I come off the field, especially in team camps. Just football has been my life. Been doing it since 3rd grade, and it's just been going on since then. So I just never want to come off.
Like what Bradley said, just whenever you get off the field, feel like you actually left everything on the field, and just be inspiring to all your other teammates by how your actions are and the way you talk too on the field. Just give it your all.
My one question for you. Oh, Lord, I know I dropped it. Oh, thank goodness. My question, you can start actually down there, and then we can just toss it. Where did your love of football start? Who kind of gave you that inspiration to play the game of football?
It really just started with me and my dad just watching the NFL. That's about it. But I've had great coaches throughout my whole football career. And it's been very inspiring to me.
Same thing here. My dad, he's been a big part in my life, you know, just pushing me to be my best. It was crazy because I always wanted to play football, but I didn't know about tackles. So I was like, I'll play flag. But then I never played flag. I just went straight into football. And just since then, it's one thing football has taught me is like, one, how to work, and two, just when you're on the field, you just don't think of anything. Life problems to anything. It's just a whole nother love of football. It's just open. Football has opened a door for me, so.
Football started for me when I was like 3. Me and my dad would just throw the football around, and then ever since I had that football in my hand, man, my love for the game has grown like a campfire.
For me, it's kind of like them. My dad introduced me to it in kindergarten. I got to go see some of their practices, some of the games on Friday nights, and man, I knew I'd just fall in love with it.
Yeah, mine started at an extremely young age. I mean, it was something that, you know, as a kid, you're just supposed to play sports. You're supposed to, whatever was in season, that's what you did. And so whenever it was fall, that was what I did. You know, and you know, my coaches growing up, they definitely inspired me and pushed me to be the person that I was. I mean, it's something looking back on. You know, at the time, they wasn't my friend. They didn't need 17-year-old friends. I tell these guys that all the time. You know, they're there to try to guide me. And you know, looking back, that was something that whenever it all came said and done, whenever I chose what I was going to do for the rest of my life, that's kind of something I look towards. I want to give these guys the same inspiration that I got as a coach.
All right, guys, final question. What's that 1 or 2 games that you got on the schedule? Just, you know, like looking past week 0 or week 1 for now, what's that 1 or 2 games that you got on circle on the schedule you're ready to play?
I think a big one for me is Bauxite. You know, sometimes it seems like they overshadow us, but I really want to show them who we are.
That Bauxite game really means a lot to me because we've been playing them since 3rd grade, you know, and I just hate losing to them.
I'll change it up, which I will go back to Bauxite here in a minute, but I'll say I think it's Lone Oak. You know, they got Lone Oak ranked #1 in the conference. You know, I always love an underdog story. You know, I've come from Harmony Grove and the wing tee and trying to go play college ball. It's just always been, oh, you got to move somewhere else to go play college ball now. I love it here for coaches and just everything. Underdog story has been a big thing in my whole life. So I just want to go out there, compete, and become #1 in conference. But also to Bauxite, you know, they, like Bradley said, they just overshadow us sometimes. You know, they're a good football team, well put together. You know, they run it really well over there. But competition-wise, I think, I'm going to say it, we got it this year. You know, with my guys and us being seniors and us being leaders this year, I just feel like we can come out on top. We just got to play football.
For me, it's also Bauxite. Just what Jackson said, we've been playing them all our life from Pee Wee, everything. It's just, we know the guys too, but it makes it really good competition.
Saline County competition. I love it. All right, fellas, great job. Really appreciate y'all coming over.
All right, appreciate it.
Up next, we've got the Stuttgart Ricebirds. They're led by head coach Josh Price. And Coach, I will go ahead and pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
You bet, man. Thank you guys for having us. We appreciate y'all doing this. I've got, starting over here, I've got Kane Price. These guys are all 4 seniors, all return starters, 3-year starters for us. Kane Price, our quarterback. Bo Barnes, defensive end and tight end for us. Keaton Byers, a free safety and wide receiver for us. And LaDadrian Smith, our starting defensive tackle, and play some offensive line for us as well. We had a really good season last year. Made state semifinals, went 12-1. Kind of surprised some people after a 5-5 season a year before. We returned a whole bunch of people on defense. We returned a 1,000-yard rusher at tailback. We returned Kane, who had 59 touchdowns total last year. So we got a lot of pieces back. Obviously, the expectations are pretty high from what everybody's seen so far from the preseason rankings and all those. So we're excited to have a fun season.
Yeah, for sure. I want to get you touched on it, Coach, just talking about the great year that you had, surprised a lot of people. Now you're not surprising people. Everybody knows that y'all are here. And Kane, I'll start with you. Just talk about how hungry you guys are after that semifinal run to really get out and show the state that really to prove people right, I guess, at this point.
Just for sure, that's been a thing. The word this offseason has been the expectation. Everybody knows who we are. Everybody knows who I am now. And, when Elkins came and beat us last year, that's still a bad taste in our mouth. They drove 3 hours down there, beat us on our home turf in semifinals. So I would definitely say we're as hungry as we've been. I know I'm as hungry as I've ever been in my high school career. It's my last chance. And I talked to the team, I feel like as a group, seniors, sophomores, and juniors, this is everybody's best chance to get a ring. So, I feel like we're really buying in and doing it right.
I definitely think it's the same thing, but we've been talking a lot about the standard. We created these past few years taking a step every year and getting better. And last year we got right there, but it's not good enough. We owe it to the town to come every day and meet the standard to go win a ring.
Yeah, coming off the 5-5 season our sophomore year, we're the underdogs going into our junior season. So, we all obviously wanted to prove that, we were good enough and just try like that off season coming off the sophomore season. We pushed ourselves, wanted to be better, and then coming off that last season that we just had, we obviously lost in the semis. We got our butts whooped, but now we want to go all the way and win a state championship.
I say that ever since last year, we really built a brotherhood and a tradition, and we want to keep it that way. I just want to make people at home proud. I want to make the town proud. Like Kane said, this is probably our best shot, and we want to make sure we give it our all. So
You have at least 10 games where you score 40 or more points. Obviously, a big part of that is Kane at quarterback. What else can you say about that offensive production that you really rely on to win games?
Well, we're very multiple. We do a whole lot of stuff. Not only the deep balls for the big that everybody likes to see, but we also do a lot of RPO stuff based off of our run game. And then we have a really good coaching staff that does a good job of understanding gaps and schemes. We run the ball a lot more successfully than people realize as well. So, and I think we'll do a lot more of that this year. We lost 4 of our 5 offensive linemen, but the guys that are going to take their place, they're going to be 2 seniors up there, 2 juniors, and another sophomore. So we're pretty excited about this group. The biggest thing is when you have a returning quarterback like that, it gets everybody in the right spot. And I tell Kane all the time, you make me correct. The defense sometimes wins. We have this play called and they have this. They win, but to make me correct, just get back to the line of scrimmage. I got all kinds of plays for 2nd and 10. I don't have any if you turn the ball over. So those are just some of the things that we really preach on, and Kane does a great job of taking care of our offense.
Well, and I'll flip the script here over to the defensive side. You got just pretty much everybody back. And, obviously, what the offense did last year and trying to even continue building on that. So I know that you feel really good about that side of the ball with all the familiar faces returning.
Yeah, the biggest thing that people are going to be surprised with, our entire secondary's back. 2 of our 3 linebackers are back. And then our defensive line. And our defensive line, we're going to, one of my coaches said, we're going to be pretty. We're going to be really pretty when we get off the bus because we're going to have Bo Barnes at 6'5", 230 on one side, and Trey Phillips will be the other end at 6'3", 290. And then our 2 inside guys, Day-Day's about 240, and our other inside guy will be about a 250-pound kid. So we're going to have some big bodies up there, and we're hoping they can dominate the line of scrimmage, and we can do a lot more of just playing our base stuff and relying on their technique and just dominating the line of scrimmage, which is where you're going to win and lose ball games.
So the 8-4A had a lot of points scored in it last year. He had a big game, with Warren, big game with Hamburg. What can you say about the 8-4A?
It's the best conference in 4A without a doubt. I think if you look in that Hooten's book, there's 22 all-team 4A class Hootens, whatever it is. I think 9 of them are from our conference. So I think there's probably about 5 or 6 Division I players in our conference this year. So it's a tough league. You know, some of them lost quite a bit to graduation. We lost quite a bit to graduations too, as well, with 2 all-state receivers leaving us. But we got some young kids that we feel like can fill that void. It's one of those deals you can't. It's kind of like the SEC. You can't take a week off. You know, you go on the road somewhere and overlook somebody, you'll take a loss. And that's the big thing we got to understand and have a lot of maturity going into our season.
And Kane, this is year 4 for you at quarterback. And obviously, you've always had a grasp of what your coach/dad has the standard that he expects. But even no matter how talented somebody is, that's a tough job for a freshman to take over a senior high team. So just talk about how the game has slowed down for you through each year.
For sure. Freshman year, I'm just gonna be honest. Where the play call, that's where I was throwing the ball. I wasn't looking backside. I wasn't looking anywhere but where the ball was going. And now going into senior year, now I'm looking pre-snap, and yeah, the game. It's like I play junior high now compared to how it felt freshman year. Freshman year, everything was so fast. I was jitters from my feet, but everything slowed down now. It's real calm in the pocket. So.
Yeah, and you can go ahead. I'll just ask, while you got the mic, I'll ask everybody, what's, on top of the great season, 12 wins last year, what are, obviously there's always some room for improvement, things you're not satisfied on. So what are some things that each one of you have focused on throughout the offseason?
I would just say being a leader, not through words, but through my actions, because, when somebody slacks me, I'm going to say something to them, but, me as the captain of this team and the quarterback, they're going to go as I go. So I need to make sure I'm doing my job every day. Showing up and doing stuff that it takes to win a championship, because all teams of 4A, we're all striving for the same goal, and that's 1%. So for us to do it, we have to make sure we're doing stuff 99% of the teams aren't doing. So just separating ourselves.
Definitely, like Kane said, just representing the team and creating a standard for the younger guys. We got kids coming in that might not know exactly how we want to do things, but this is our last shot. This is our best shot to win a state championship. And so, I think definitely all of us are trying to be the best leaders we can, be the best seniors, lead by example, and just show the younger guys how we do things and give ourselves the best opportunity to win.
Kind of what they were saying. Be leaders, be a great example for the younger ones. When we were younger, we look up to the older guys, and now we are the older guys. So, we want to show them what it is like. Give 110% every rep. Don't skip any reps, and yeah, basically.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Just leaving a tradition behind. Just wanting to give something that the younger people can look up to when they come to Stuttgart and they put on that jersey. They want to be a Riceburg. So we want to make sure they represent something that they can, take into consideration, actually mean something. And also that, we give it every play that we got. It's our last shot. So whatever we can, every snap, every play, 100%, 10%.
Coach, a fun one real quick. So y'all played deep into November last year. What is the penalty down in Stuttgart for going duck hunting and missing practice?
Yeah, we don't do much of that. We don't miss practice for any reason. So we kind of set up our playing over Thanksgiving. We do something a little different around there just because of the way some of that stuff works. My Thanksgiving schedule is a little different. I do not practice on Thanksgiving Day. We practice on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning. My guys are off from Wednesday at noon, and then wherever we're playing, if we're at home or however that happens, we were at home this year, obviously. We do our Thursday walk-through practice on Friday at 2 o'clock. And we literally go outside in cleats and helmets and run all of our stuff. And so it works out pretty good for our kids because, I had a coach tell me one time, he said, I don't want to be that one coach that tells that kid, you can't go, you have to stay here, you can't go to North Arkansas or wherever your family is, and then some grandparent passes away or something over the year and you don't, so it's as important as high school football is, we still don't ask these guys to put anything in front of their family and things along those lines. So we don't have a really big problem. They've mentioned the standard and expectations and stuff like that. Our guys kind of know, rule number 1 is be here. And if you're not here, the rest of the rules don't matter. So we do a pretty good job of attending practice and that was not the case when I got there 11 years ago, but we've kind of got that problem solved.
Guys, obviously, I'm looking at the records over the last couple of years, 7 wins and 5 wins last year. We can hear from down the line, starting from the quarterback all the way on down. What did you learn, through those times, through those hard times before having that great year last year, going from 7 wins to 5 wins and then, springboarding and surprising everybody with 12. What was those down years like, and what did it teach you?
Really it comes down to who makes more winning plays. And my freshman and sophomore year, we would be one play away from either putting ourselves in a good chance to win the game or win the game. I think my sophomore year, the year we went 5-5, we lost so many close games because we just couldn't make winning plays. And I feel like that's maturity that comes into play. And last year, we just made those game-winning plays.
I definitely think it taught me a lot about what I want to be as a senior. When we were like sophomore year, there was the leadership in the locker room wasn't exactly the greatest, and it didn't lead to a great season. And then last year we had a lot of guys in the grade above us that stepped up and became really good leaders, and they represented the team very well, and it gave us 12 wins. So we're trying to definitely be those same seniors, and it taught us what to do and what not to do to apply yourself to have a very good and very successful season.
Every offseason, push ourselves to get better and better just for the upcoming season. Leadership, get better, and we want to be the best leaders we can for the young guys and just have the tight bond that we do. We should have. Push each other, everyone, to the same expectations.
Like what Kane said, making important plays, especially when you're tired. I think those last couple of seasons, it just was a sense of want-to. You have to have like a really big opportunity and you have to take it and, just make sure that you stay in the moment, don't lead your team down, have a leadership. And that's what I learned from last season is that you have to bring each other up. It's a brotherhood, so you have to make sure your teammates are on the same page as you.
All right, go ahead and keep that mic. We got one last question, and this is going to be an interesting one because y'all went undefeated in regular season. But is there any game that you have circled on that schedule that you're just, maybe you individually had a missed opportunity or something like that you're looking forward to?
I take that and say every game. I take every game as important. If you look at one game, you see a team, they have talent, but at the same time, every team wants to win. So, you just have to take into consideration that even if a team doesn't have, as much as the other team, they're still going to want to play and give it 100%. So you have to step up and put your foot on the line.
For us, Stuttgart, our rival is DeWitt. That's Battle of Arco. But honestly, I'm ready for all of them. I'm just ready to be back out there.
I'll answer this one too. Every game is very important. We talk about not overlooking people or whatever, but the future and how our team goes will probably be decided over a 3-week stretch. We go to DeWitt, host Monticello, who has those 3 Division I good football players, and then we go to Warren, where Stuttgart has not won since 1997. So that's a huge, huge thing that we'll be talking about, but that 3-week window right there is going to be huge for our football team.
You definitely, I think, especially coming into the season, being number 1 ranked, you have a big target on your back. So you're going to get, no matter they're 3-9 or they're 12-0, you're going to get everyone's best shot. So you can't overlook anyone, whether it's, DeWitt or it's CrossFit or it's Hamburg. Every single person is trying to beat you. They want to be able to say we beat Stuttgart, so you can't overlook anyone. So definitely you got to take every game one step at a time for sure.
Yeah, I would just say whichever game's next, we know what we want to accomplish, so don't look ahead too far and just take it 1 week at a time.
All right, fellas, great job. Really appreciate y'all coming up.
You bet, man. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, up next we've got the Rosebud Ramblers. They're led by head coach Garrett Hagg. Coach, I will pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Okay, first off, I just want to thank you guys for always putting this event on. It's always a very exciting time, especially right before season kicks off. You guys do a phenomenal job of allowing us to come up here and promote our program, or get our players up here talking about the program and the upcoming season. So thank you guys for that. I just want to start off by saying that we're really excited for this upcoming season. We're still in the 8-man division, but this year we'll be in the Sanction 2A. Be able to try to compete for a conference championship and the state championship. So we're really excited to be moved out of that unsanctioned league and into actual class 2A 8-man. A couple guys that I brought with me today. Over here on my far left, we've got junior Drake Atkin. He's going to be a wide receiver for us, defensive back. Probably get a little bit of time in at the running back position. Also to my left, we've got senior Manny Waits. Manny's been our center for the last 3 years. He was our center as a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader. This year, luckily, we have a few new linemen coming from our junior high group, so we're able to move him to more of a running back role. He's one of our fastest guys, and I think he's going to have a lot of success in that new role. And then he'll also be linebacker or defensive lineman for us. And then to my right, I've got sophomore quarterback Cade Wortham. Cade's had an outstanding 2 years in junior high for us. He had a really great performance in our first round playoff game this past season, and we expect really big things for him this upcoming season.
So obviously 8-man's a little bit different and doesn't get as much focus as 11-man does, and so it's really cool that you bring your guys here. Can you talk a little bit about 8-man, just to tell people how different it is than 11?
Yeah, I tell you, man, it is a score fest. You hear the trumpets, you hear the drums a lot during games. It's not unrealistic to have a game go, 75-70 or, and just depending on who you play, sometimes it gets a little more out of hand than that. But it's a lot of scoring, a lot of fast paced. I will say if anybody that's watching, if you've never seen an 8-man football game in Arkansas, I would recommend you either live stream one or go see one in person, because it's really exciting, really fast paced, especially if you're more of an offensive guy. A lot of defensive guys may not like it as much because defense is tough. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. The field's pretty much the same size, but we have 8 guys to 11, so a lot more space, a lot more area to move around and get guys open.
So the players will start down here. Just talk about, I know last year had played a lot of younger guys, were really injured and all those different things. And so just talk about going into this season, you got you're still young, but have some experience at least. So just kind of talk about the outlook going into the season.
Yes, sir. We have a lot of difficulties with our younger guys actually showing up to practice. I think the older guys, they're setting a really, really good example with come showing up to practice, and getting these younger guys to practice is just as hard as an NFL team winning a Super Bowl. It's really insane. So I'm pretty sure if we can get these younger guys to show up, get everybody to practice, we do really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's one of the main things. And injuries really hurts us a lot. We've got a couple of guys already out due to injuries. But really, if we could just get everyone to practice and we could come together like bees in a beehive.
What was the question again?
Just basically the outlook going into the season. Like Coach said, it's new. Not necessarily like a huge change as far as the play on the field and things, but just going from unsanctioned to sanctioned, and just how you guys feel about going into the year.
Not having a lot of people right now, as they're talking about, and but we're gonna come together, like he was saying, and hopefully work towards getting together and scoring, become a good team.
Coach, that brings up a good point that, a lot of people might, and I guess probably it kind of comes with 8-man, you might not have as many bodies, you might have them in the teens or something like that because of injuries or whatever. I can imagine it's a little bit of a chess game because, I mean, you lose. It's like we talk in 2A football all the time. You can have one dynamic player that can really take you to Little Rock, and in 8-man, it's kind of similar in a lot of ways, but you just don't have those bodies sometimes. So talk about the challenges of that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and these guys kind of mentioned it. You know, injuries is the biggest thing. You know, that killed us last year. At one point, we look up and we've got 11 healthy guys. You know, and that's even though we're 8-man, it's still tough trying to figure out. You know, you got 8, you got 3 subs. You know, not a whole lot of wiggle room there. And then also just, you know, not only getting guys to practice, because we don't have that many anyway, but then, like, for example, like Manny, he's going from center to now he's going to be playing running back and linebacker for us just because that fits our scheme the best. Defensively, he may start week 1 as a linebacker. By the time the season's over with, he may end up being a safety for us, you know, or a defensive lineman. There's a lot of movement there that happens in 8-man that you're not really used to seeing in 11-man football. We can't really, you know, tell a kid that, you know, hey, you're going to specialize in this one position and this is all you're going to play all year. You know, you got to be ready to move, you know, from week to week, from play to play sometimes, and that's what makes it really difficult.
Manny, for you in particular, I'm curious to know, just playing all those different positions. I mean, I'm sure you're a team player and everything, but I know that's got to be difficult. Like, okay, I might show up to practice today and I might be playing this or that you weren't doing yesterday. So just talk about how you've had to buy into that to do just what's best for your team.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes, but I just kind of got to go with it. I mean, it's not that hard, just remembering all the different kind of things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And Coach, how much have you were done talking, right? Okay, cool. I didn't want to cut you off. Coach, how much digging, and still got a little bit till the season starts, but how much have you looked at your conference? How much have you looked at the 2A sanction 8-man division overall, or just that whole league?
Right, yeah, I mean, for one, just being sanctioned, I really like it because, you know, the last couple of years being unsanctioned, we've only been guaranteed 8 games, and then, you know, this year now we've got a whole 10-game slate. You know, we still have a couple games that I'm kind of worried about, you know, especially in 8-man where I might get a phone call on a Tuesday and be like, hey, Coach, we just don't have enough this week, you know. Luckily, we haven't had that issue, but hopefully that doesn't, you know, come into play, especially with us being in the 2A league. But as far as our conference goes, I think with us being in the West, it's very interesting because there's so many new teams, new faces in the West Conference. Like, you know, you've got us, Guy Perkins, and Southside B Branch. You know, we're very used to those guys. We've played those guys in the past. But then now we've got, you know, a couple teams in Magazine and Johnson County Westside that both dropped down from 2A 11-man. Now they're 8-man. So, like, we really don't even know what necessarily they're going to look like, you know. We haven't even seen Magazine at camp yet. We've got ICC who, you know, won the state championship a couple years ago at 8-man, went to 11, didn't have a lot of success. Now they're back down to 8. So, I mean, it's kind of, I honestly don't know. You know, I've looked at it, but it's kind of hard to tell right now until we actually see some tape on some of these guys and kind of see how they're going to really be.
Going from left to right, we're a couple weeks out from the season starting. What makes you get up in the morning for football? What makes football exciting for you? What makes the season about to begin? What's getting you going right now? What makes football exciting for you?
A lot of times it's just getting up in the morning just means more when you with best friends and with my guys that I throw to on offense. Mainly, I just play quarterback most of the time. Then I got my main receiver Drake over here, and then I got a few more guys back there and back home, and it just makes it easy to get up and throw to them guys and hand the ball off to somebody I trust with the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. I always get up and I think about my team. And I got to go help them get better as a team.
For me, it's just to love the game. Been doing it all my life, and having good teammates like these two right here help me make sure to stay consistent and get up in the morning.
Yeah, love of the game, man. You know, I've been doing this for, I guess, coaching for almost 10 years and played in high school and, you know, all that good stuff. And it's just, you know, something I've always done, and I've never got out of that routine. And, you know, we're just going to keep on trucking ahead.
These are 3 of your top guys and leaders here. Who are some other names that we need to keep an eye on this fall?
Some of the other guys, we got junior Antoine Barton. He's going to be one that's going to be, you know, one of our better defensive players, also play some tight end for us. Eli Jordan, he's probably going to be, him and Manny's going to probably share a lot of the reps at running back. But he's had a phenomenal summer this year. One new thing that we've kind of put in more of like a double wing offense to try to get, because one of the things that we struggled with is running the football last year, and I want to try to fix that. So he's done a phenomenal job. Him and Maddox Smith, both at our wing positions, have done a phenomenal job this summer running the football and blocking for each other. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. And then obviously some of our offensive linemen, Nick Gala, he's 500. I think he got 505 on squat last time with Max. He actually is getting his knee checked out right now, so we're hoping and praying that all that is cleared up. And then our other offensive linemen, Manny Jazo and Hunter Palmer, those three guys are going to kind of be our up front guys and be the consistent part of our offense as far as offensive line play goes. And I see them stepping up and being a big role for us moving the ball.
Gotcha. All right, well, guys, last question. What's, as we said, moving from unsanctioned to sanctioned, what is maybe one game or two that you're looking at, just more not overlooking anybody or anything, but just one or two that you might have circled on your schedule?
Yes, sir. I'm really looking forward to Southside B Branch. I know quite a few guys from there, so it'll make it fun to play them, but also you really want to win just to, have bragging rights over.
Yeah. Guy Perkins. I'm really excited to play them again and hopefully get the upper hand.
Every team, I guess. I don't know. I like playing. And playing football with every guy, every teammate makes it just better and makes every game fun.
All right, guys. Well, really appreciate y'all coming back, and we'll see you next year. Appreciate it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not in the strike.
All right, up next, we've got the Lone Oak Jackrabbits. They're led by head coach Clay Bimberg. Coach, I'll pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having us out here today. Start over here on my right. We have all these guys are seniors, and they're all 3-year starters for us. We have Jonathan Hickson plays tight end and a linebacker for us. Ryder Engel plays linebacker and running back. Graham Stewart, safety and running back. And Demarion Easton plays a little bit of everything, running back, wide receiver, safety, kick returner. So he does a little bit of everything for us. Like I said, all these guys are 3-year starters, going to be seniors, and they've made a lot of contributions to the program since since I've been here.
And so when you got here 2 years ago, I think I remember you mentioning, like you're gonna have, young youth and all those different things. Now those sophomores or seniors got a lot of returning starters, particularly on offense. 3-year starter quarterback, a lot of offensive linemen, running back. So a lot of excitement in Jackrabbit country right now.
Absolutely. So these guys, I think we have 10 sophomores. They're going to end up being 3-year starter, or they were started sophomores and now are seniors. And we only had 6 seniors last year total. So we have a lot of our production coming back on both sides of the football, and we're really excited about it. They know they know the expectations. They know how to work. They know what to expect. As far as playing a game, playing tough opponents, and so they've got all that experience to help them as we go into this season.
Jonathan, we'll start with you and just go down the line. Just talk about your sophomore year when Coach Benberg came in. Obviously had a great run as Parkview's OC. Comes in, sets his standards, and just how you guys have bought into that and passed it down to the younger guys.
He kind of came in, just kind of set the tone for us. It was kind of a lousier program before he came, and he just kind of set the culture of what it should be like, and we all just took with it and ran with it.
Yeah, before Coach Benberg, it was not the greatest program. When he came, he raised the bar. That was his saying, was raise the bar, and he did that. He changed how we eat, how we drink, how we hydrate, and it changed the program. You can see that.
Yeah, when Coach Benberg came here, he changed a lot of the culture around our football program. Like before, they didn't really care about it. It was more basketball and football, but now that he's here, they all expect more. We got a new field. He's done a lot for us, and he'll continue doing that.
Yeah, I like what he's doing. He came before Coach Benberg came, I was like a little stick, small, and then now I've been eating, drinking protein, getting bigger, and it's just more people came to football. It used to be more basketball. It's just now football better than I like basketball because I do both sports, but he put football in my life more, and that's why I like it.
Coach, that brings up a really good point. I don't know if we've touched on yet is eating, your diet and making sure you're hydrated. You can work out and you can run and do all these different things, but if you're not properly hydrating, especially in the heat and eating right, it's probably you're not gonna feel too good. So talk about your focus on that.
Absolutely. So when we got there, one thing we made a big emphasis on was the weight room, and these guys all bought into it. And then all 4 of these guys have been two-way players. I've had to play with 3 of them playing almost every snap of the game on offense and defense. So one thing we learned when I was at Parkview is how we prepare ourselves, and with the Gatorades, the Gator Lights, the water, the nutrition that goes with it to really help make it through a football game and play it at a high level for 4 quarters, which is not easy to do on one side of the ball, much less playing both sides of the ball. So and these guys have bought into it. They weren't sure at first. Graham will tell you, first game, as a sophomore, he had a little cramping incident, but he hasn't had that since. And ever since then, he's been a believer and he's bought in. So.
Yeah, and I think one of y'all mentioned the upgrades and just, new football facilities. I think got baseball and softball coming in as well. A lot of big things, not just excitement for the football program, but a lot of really cool stuff to play it in as well. So talk about how cool that is, Jonathan. We'll start on your end again.
Yeah, it's just new coming of age. We have always had the same facilities. I don't know for how long, but just new stuff coming in, and just this new era of Lone Oak becoming.
Yeah, I think it's great to see the community buying in and all the coaches buying in, and it's just great to see a happy community ready for new things. And when things don't go our way, and when we don't get what we want, we still thrive to try and get new stuff. And I just like how our community's reacted to it.
It's good. It really raises the pride of the community because before we had a dirt field. It had a lot of holes in it. We would fill it with sand. So it's like eating catfish from the mud to eating salmon. It's a good switch up.
I forgot the question.
Just the new facilities and all the new things that you have on campus and how cool that is.
Yeah, before he came, we we had like the same jerseys. Now we getting like new jerseys and new accessories. And yeah, that's really about it.
Coach, I don't know why you were so easy on the non-conference schedule. I mean, you got a Stuttgart team that's projected number one, a Harding Academy team that's always obviously competitive, and your former program, Little Rock Parkview, that's been pretty good in 5A. So, I mean, why are you being so easy on your guys?
Yeah,
obviously, I'm kidding to everyone.
What's one thing I learned when I worked in Warren, it's being a 7A program, it's hard to schedule up, but in Parkview, we scheduled up as well. We played 7A teams there, and so, you always schedule tough. Stuttgart's a game we're always going to play, whether they're in our conference or it's a non-conference game, just because of the proximity. And and these guys have played Stuttgart since they're in Pee Wee and football, basketball, baseball, tiddlywinks, everything. We play Stuttgart in just about anything. And you want to challenge your team and see, because when you play good programs in bigger schools, you're going to find out a lot about your team, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And it gives us an opportunity to see where we're heading, heading into conference season.
Then, of course, it's still a tough conference. You got CAC. Okay, listen, y'all were, I guess, in the same conference from the last cycle, if I'm not mistaken.
It was the same conference number, but it's a totally different conference.
Right. You got. I remember last year there was a lot because you guys got on a roll, and Heber Springs was hot there for a little bit. So maybe it seemed like a little bit of an underrated conference at the beginning of the year, but then, there was multiple teams that started clicking on all cylinders by the time that it was done.
Yeah, we have coming back in that league, we have Heber, CAC. Bald Knob and us we played each other last year, and then we're adding Bauxite, Harmony Grove, Mayflower, and Clinton. So there's 4 really physical football teams. They're going to challenge you up front on both sides, and of course Mayflower had, I think, the top defense in the state last year statistically. So and we know Bauxite had a really good run, really good team, and Harmony Grove's a tough physical football team as well. And we know Clinton, that's what they like to do. They line up and hit you in the mouth. So 4 teams are going to enhance our conference, I think, and make it stronger top to bottom, no doubt about it. So we'll have a tough game every week.
Yeah, kind of back to what we were saying earlier. A lot of returning starters. Obviously, these are 4 of your top guys. Who are some others that we need to watch for?
Yeah, we could bring 4, but we have Dylan Dean. He's been our quarterback for the last 2 years, and he's been very productive. His understanding of what we want, his recognition of pre-snap and where the ball's supposed to go has only gotten better, and he's ready to take another step this season. Ryan Lewis is a returning defensive lineman. He's going to be the biggest human on the field every time he steps on the field, and when he wants to, he can dominate. We have returning also in the secondary and a receiver, Trey Jackson, who actually led us in touchdown receptions last year. He'll also be a 3-year starter. And then also returning for us is Darius Jeffrey. He plays receiver, quarterback, and DB for us. And Josh Sherman, returning running back, I'm really excited about him. He's looked really, really good this spring and this summer. He slimmed down a little bit, has a little more burst to him and an acceleration through the hole, and I think he's going to have a really big junior season for us. And so those are some of the guys. Cooper Lewis, up front, 2-way lineman for us. So he's another, he'll be a junior for us and does a really good job. Yeah.
So, guys, you've all contributed a lot of plays and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this program. You got one more season. When you look at the schedule and just, our early talking season here, what's 1 or 2 games that we'll start with you down here this time. What are maybe 1 or 2 games that you got circled?
It's one of them, but I'm not going to say too much. I really want to just win all of the games and then get to play at War Memorial.
Yeah, for me, it's really all of them because every game matters, especially once you get in conference because you lose one game, you can go down to the bottom of the seeding, and you win one, you go up. So it's really all of them.
I'm excited for just about every game. When you play non-conference games, you have it's on your record, but once you get to conference, your record starts over. So it's like a whole new ball game. But yeah, I'm ready to play War Memorial. I think that'll be a fun experience, and I'm glad we scheduled it.
Yeah, I'm just taking it week by week. Every week having the mindset of going 1-0, and so I'm just ready for the season.
guess we can leave it down there and bring it all the way back. What started your love for the game of football? We can go from the left to right. What started your love for the game of football? Whether it be a player in the NFL that you looked up to, your dad, whoever. What started that love and that hunger for football?
Honestly, I didn't play football until I was in 7th grade, and I just really liked the contact. I don't know. I put the pads on for the first time, and I just liked the contact, and so that's what just kept me going.
My brother, he inspired me a lot. It's just like this. He's only 2 years older than me, but it's like this older, he just pushes me to be a better person. And I think I started sometime Pee Wee, but I like the work you have to put in, the work ethic, and it really strives me to be a better person. And when you wake up in the morning and do your work, and you're got all your lift, all your conditioning in by 9 o'clock, it's a great feeling to have.
Really for me, it's the brotherhood. Like, you do so much with your guys, and you spend a lot of time in the summer. You don't really have a summer break if you work a job too, so you get to know them, and you just love being around them. Then football makes you a tough person. Not everybody get up at 6 in the morning and do 2-a-days, work out, conditioning. It takes a tough person to play football, and it really builds your character. That's why I love it so much.
I started loving football when I was like 4 years old, playing in the backyard with my brothers. They used to always bully me. Like, I really didn't even want to play no more. Like, they made me not like it, but I started liking it when I played people that was my age. And then when I was like 10, I was trying to play Pee Wee football, but we never had the money for me to sign up and play for it. But I had help, like Chad Gentry. They started helping me. I started playing football, and that's just really when I started liking it more. But my first varsity game, I got knocked out. And that's when I had low confidence, but it just came back when I started grinding and getting pushed by coaches. And yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, just kind of like Jonathan, I didn't play till middle school either. And over here at Forest Heights Middle School back then, and went up to Central, played for Bernie Cox, and that was just a great experience. I was just around didn't realize at the time how fortunate it was to be on some of those great football teams, a lot of great players and a lot of good people still in touch with today, and had the opportunity just to continue playing college football. And that's why I really fell in love with the coaching aspect of it and all the parts that go into that. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do this now for, I think, 16 years in the high school level. So just love it, and helping young people reach the best versions of themselves is what makes it very satisfying.
All right, great stuff, fellas. Really appreciate y'all coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
up next, we've got the Cutter Morning Star Eagles led by head coach Josh Brown. Coach, I will go ahead and pass it over to you. You can introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
Man, I appreciate y'all having us out today. It's really nice when you come out and pump out a little school like us in our little corner of Hot Springs and give our kids the opportunity to be kind of seen on a bigger stage, so I appreciate that. To my left right here, I got Preston Cameron. He's going to play a little linebacker for us this year. To my right here, we got Joseph Porkchop Newton. And then over here to my right, we got Hunter Sanders, who's going to play receiver and DB for us this year.
Well, just talk about the adjustment to Cutter. Obviously, you were on a pretty successful Bryant staff that's done a few good things over the years, but just talk about how everything has been since you switched over to Cutter and took over the program.
You know, it's kind of been a pretty tough adjustment. It's a lot more slow living down here in 3A than it is in 7A. But, you know, coaching under Coach James for a year and then coaching under Coach Sanders for the past couple of years, you know, you learn a lot of things from those guys. And then before that, coaching under Coach Harris at Benton, and then coaching under Coach Patton at Bauxite. So you kind of, being in the room and listening to those guys talk, you kind of really get a feel of kind of what a program is supposed to look like. And taking all those pieces and stuff is kind of what I'm excited about, and putting my own little twist on it and spreading it to these guys, and hopefully we can build something and create something good down in Hot Springs.
Yeah, and so we'll start over here just with the players. You know, obviously Coach Finley, I think when he took over, I think the program had zero or one win, and it was an 8-man, moved up to 11-man, had a great season last year. So just kind of talk about, you know, how excited you are for this season to continue building and also doing it under a new head coach.
I would say, like, we're really excited for this year. I think we've gotten a lot better since last year and the year before last. You know, I think a lot of our players have really stepped up in, you know, being leaders and really pushing it in, like, weight room and, like, on the field and, you know, everything like that. So
I enjoy like the way that we've been able to build up our team and get better, and the way that the coaches have pushed me to get better personally. And I feel like I can do better this year than I have previous years.
Yeah, I like the way how Coach Brown has changed the weight room and how everything's been running on like practices and everything's like that. It's stepped up and it's been 100% better since from last year at this time to this year at this time. It's a complete 180.
So, Coach, you look at your schedule and still in the 3A4, but some new teams in there. Looking at the non-conference, you go CAC, a 4A school, and then you do play East Point State County, a really, really good 2A school. What can you say about that?
Man, we have a really tough go out of the gate. I mean, we're benefiting with Episcopal, with Coach Forte, and they're going to have a good team. And then we come out of the gate at home with Fountain Lake, and Fountain Lake's going to have a really good team. And then CAC, little 4A, they're always going to be tough. Coach Plumlee does a great job over there. And then taking that really long bus trip down to EPC, we got to win 2 battles that day, the bus ride and hopefully on the field. And then coming out of the gate, man, we got Glen Rose and Atkins to start conference play. So, I mean, our first 5 is, we're really going to know what we're going to be about when conference play comes around, because we battle tested, and then you got Glen Rose, who's Glen Rose, and then you got Atkins, who's a very good football program, and they had very, very good success last year, and we're adding them to the league. So, yeah, it's a tough league, and non-con's pretty brutal this year.
And talking about being at Bryant, look, you know, that's Bryant, you know, they made history and all those different things, but still, being on that staff, you learn a whole lot. I mean, I look at what Daryl Burnett, you know, he was there years ago, and what he's done not too far from you guys at Hot Springs High. And, you know, just taking those concepts, knowing what it takes to win a state championship year in and year out, what are some of the things that you have instilled in this team?
You know, the biggest thing is getting these guys to believe in what we're preaching. And once you get those guys to believe in what you're preaching, I mean, you can take it as far as you want. You know, Coach Sanders and Coach James were real big on the 212 stuff, and that's fantastic. I mean, I remember there'd be a couple times, I think it was a playoff game or a state championship game, and someone called timeout. I think it was who we were playing, and the clock stopped at 212. And then everybody on the sideline was pointing at the camera, and that's just a program thing and setting your motto and all that stuff. So that's fantastic. And you know, we're doing a lot of expectation stuff, and you know, I'm kind of preaching these guys. We're going to do it the Eagle way, taking it off Bill Belichick a little bit because he likes to do it the Patriot way before he got fired. But you know how it is. But yeah, we're trying to do it right, man. We're trying to take what Coach Finley said, and we're just trying to put our little twist on it and improve it and take it even further.
Preston, I know you've been a big part of the defense, but you've had to battle some injuries and things like that. What are some things that you've done over the offseason? Obviously, you can't help injuries, but as far as just trying to keep yourself healthy and just get ready for your senior year.
Yeah, the weight room's been a big part of that. Hitting leg day a lot, and getting in the weight room and outside, doing conditioning and just running and helping, stay healthy and keeping my body healthy. I've gained 25 pounds over the off season, so I've been in the weight room a lot, and I think that and just the way that the way practices have been going, it's honestly helped us. It's helped not just me, but all of us understand. I think we understand how it should go more than we did before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And Coach, got a good bit of it's first year, but you got a good bit returning, from a playoff team. So talk about how much. And I said this a few times. I don't like using easy in sports in any capacity, but I imagine that at least eases it a little bit, having so many guys that are familiar with helping the team get to the playoffs.
It does. Someone asked me the other day, just called me up and said, hey man, how's it going? How you feeling about the team? And I said, man, best way I describe us is that we are a young, experienced team. We're a young veteran team. And we got a lot of guys that are going to be juniors for us this year. That played a lot of minutes and got a lot of quality experience. I mean, we got a really good senior group that played a lot of minutes for us as juniors last year. And so we're really hoping that what we're going to do offensively and defensively kind of molds more to what these guys can do, and it's going to kind of hopefully move us on to that next level.
Guys, we'll start down here again. Just what are some things that you've worked on throughout the offseason after the season ended last year that you just felt like you needed to improve on?
Probably speed and physicality for sure. So I think a lot of us have really understood, if you're not physical in football, it's not going to be the game that you want it to be.
I've worked on my physicality and footwork. I had a big issue with footwork and placement with him, but I feel like I've gotten much better at it.
We're just worked on getting stronger and faster in the off season, and that's really about it. Just gotten stronger and working on defensively. Working on I've had a big problem with reading guard triangles, so just working on that. I've gotten way better at doing that. So I think
All right, how about a fun one? Best pregame meal, and what is your warm-up song or a song that really gets you going before you go out there for battle? Give me 1 second.
I like to eat some chicken before a good game. Get some protein in. And a good song. I think a little "Hometown Glory" by Adele. That's a good song to right before you go out.
I don't. My favorite meal is also chicken. I think I've always loved chicken. Chicken's just really good. Maybe some mac and cheese on the side or some fries. But for song, I don't really have a preferred song. I usually just listen to what is played in the locker room, or maybe even take a nap.
For me, it's definitely chicken and rice. I feel like that's a very good meal before a game. And a song, I don't really have one.
Man, to be honest with you, on game days I am so all over the place that most of the time I forget to eat pregame meal. And then I save it for post game, and I normally eat 2 or 3 of them after the game. But man, when I was playing ball, I played under Mark Jones at Benton, and he fed us the same meal every game, and it was a fried chicken patty with marinara sauce on it, green beans, and a roll, and we'd all turn it into a chicken parm sandwich. And we always thought it was the greatest thing in the world to eat before pregame. Probably wasn't, but hey, I'd probably say that's my go-to, because I haven't probably eaten a pregame meal in 6 or 7 years.
Well, who are some of you got 3 of your top guys here? Who are some others that we need to watch for this fall?
We got Cheston Honeycutt coming back. He was one of the top sack leaders in the league last year, and he's gained a little weight. He's gotten a little faster, and he's really buying into what we're doing defensively this year. Jacob Smith, our quarterback, he's a guy that we believe that could play on the next level. He's got really high arm talent. He's very intelligent, and what we're doing now with the offense, he's really starting to click. Last week we were down at Lake Hamilton. You could really see it was starting to click for him with his progressions and his reads and putting it where it needs to go and all that stuff. Kit Breakbill, linebacker for us. He's going to be a really good piece that's coming on big physical kid that's going to hopefully do a lot of tackles for us. Jackson McClone is coming back. All-State as a sophomore. He's going to come back, play some middle linebacker for us, and tote the rock for us a little bit. And then Kingston Hollingsworth, good receiver we got. He's going to tag team with him, so hopefully we got a nice 2 to 3 man combo that we'll be able to throw and catch out there.
All right, wrapping things up here, guys. What is that 1 or 2 games that you've got circled? You know, just like talking season right now. So just what is that 1 or 2 that you maybe slipped away from you last year that you're ready to play again? Now let's start with you, Preston.
Honestly, I'm ready for all of them. I'm ready to honestly just to go out there, especially in conference play, and compete every week, and go every week, and it's basically a 1-0 mentality. Just every week, win.
I'm excited to play all the games, and we just got to go week by week to see what the team has, and then decide what we got to do to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm just excited to play every game. Being able to start from Monday and work till Friday is very exciting.
Fellas, great job. Good luck this season. Really appreciate you guys coming.
Thanks for having us.
All right, up next we've got the Heber Springs Panthers. They're led by head coach Caleb Carmichael. And Coach, I will go ahead and pass it over to you so you can give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having us. I think this is so cool that you do this for high school kids. I was thinking yesterday getting ready for this, like what would I have said or would I have been well-spoken, as a high school football player, and probably not as well-spoken as these guys are. We got some great guys we brought with us. To my far right is Lachlan Tubbs. All 3 of these guys are returning starters, a couple of them 3-year starters. Right here, Josiah Riggs, Tanner Graham, and Brody Lathan. So I'm excited for this season. Year 3 now, and it's a young team. And I think a lot of the success that we have this year is going to be predicated on how well these guys lead us and carry us into the season. So looking forward to it.
So I know when you took this job, where you're from,
Yeah.
dream job for you, and great to come home. Now that you have had a full class that's going into their senior year, they were obviously sophomores and now into their senior year. Just talk about the development that you've seen in the program.
I think I was just talking to someone the other day. I think there's maybe more excitement right now around our program than there was even 2 years ago. Just like you said, the familiarity with the system and with what we do, and had no turnover this year on our staff. Same both coordinators back, and these guys, they have a great understanding of what we do on offense and defense, and just the leadership that these guys have shown already going into this season. And I think we're set to have a great year, and just being home is there's nothing like it. It's been awesome.
To the players, I'll ask the same thing. Y'all were sophomores whenever Coach took over. We'll start down here. Y'all were sophomores when Coach took over, and the development that you've seen, and also maybe within yourselves individually.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I mean,
The past 2 years, learning the offense and getting to know how everything works has been very helpful and really makes our game better. So going into the season, knowing I'll have 2 years under us will really help us.
Yeah, I gotta agree. 7th through 9th grade, we had a few different coaches, and it was kind of hard to just learn the offense or offense and defense, just because so many different changes. So having this 3rd year under Coach Carmichael helps us a lot.
Yeah, like the same thing. I've enjoyed learning the scheme, and it's a lot better that we've had the same staff for the past 2 years and not rotating coaches anymore. So like we're building relationships and we're all comfortable with each other.
Yeah, we've definitely grown into the offense really well. We're finally able to settle down and learn one playbook instead of a new one every other year. So I think things are starting to click.
So, Coach, obviously with your offense, you start out by establishing the run game. What have you seen from the offensive line up front to really establish that run game?
Much improved. You know, last year the offensive line was the big question mark coming into the year. We had replaced 4 of them, and this year we got the majority of them back. Only one senior. Broda's the only senior on the offensive line, so it's still a young group. But I think the progression they've shown, especially in the ability to establish an inside run game, so far this summer has looked much better. Still got some work to do in the pass protection, but I think we're leagues ahead of where we were up front last year.
We were just talking with Lone Oak and Coach Bimberg, and y'all's conference was a little interesting. You
Yeah.
had some guys that got hot, like y'all did, the 4-game win streak, but then it was a little, I think it was 3 of 4, to end the season that you dropped. So what has been kind of the focus on finishing and just making sure that, once you get hot, to stay that way?
I think it's building depth. We had some really untimely injuries last year going into that Lone Oak game. Like I said, we were playing for a conference championship and lost to what I thought would have been an all-state receiver in DV, all-state running back, and had a linebacker get hurt. One running back towards ACL in the Hall game, and then we had a car wreck with the other 2 kids that week coming back from the college, and we didn't have the type of depth built in those spots that we needed. So that's been a big focus for us this summer is making sure that every kid in the program's got that next man up mentality to where because somebody's going to get hurt at some point in the season, and whenever that happens, that next guy being ready to step up and make plays.
And kind of building off that, and we'll start down here this time for the players. What's, maybe 1 or 2 things for yourselves individually that you looked at after the season, you're like, okay, this is what I really need to focus on?
We had some struggles in the pass game up front, and I think over the offseason and coming into this season, I think we've improved like exponentially.
Mine's more focused on like building like relationships with the teammates. At the start of the year, we started off really bad, and he made like accountability groups, and we all like came together and figured out our differences with each other, and we're starting to like click. And like right now, I'm just focused on what I can do to, we have like a young team, and what I can do to like lead them and be the best that we can be.
Postseason interviews with Coach Carmichael. I've normally always been a defensive player, but last year I was kind of a second or third option because we had an all-state receiver. But Coach said that I need to step into a bigger role in offense this year, and he wanted me to be the guy. So just been kind of working on my offensive craft as well as my defensive.
Yeah, it was tough last season because the playoff game, first drive, I broke my collarbone and had to have surgery. So it's been tough trying to get back into shape and get bigger and get some muscle. But I think now that I've got back into it 100%, that I need to be a better leader, and we can have a good season, maybe go win a championship.
And looking at the schedule, you got a really tough Atkins team that was kind of a surprise in 3A last year. Then you go to Highland, and then you finish up non-conference with the defending 4A runner-up.
Yeah.
But one of the glaring things, and we talked about this with Clinton as well, one of the glaring things is you guys being in that conference with them again. And so I know that means a lot to the Heber Springs community, whether it's non-con or in conference, but it's fun the week leading up, not just the 3 hours on that Friday night, but now you're playing for possible postseason seedings as well.
Yeah, it's when I was in school that they were in our conference. We played week 9. I don't think we've ever played week 10. We've played, I think, since World War II. There's only been like 2 years that Heber Springs and Clinton haven't played. It's, in my opinion, I think there should be more attention on this rivalry, but with what goes on off the football field. Both communities come together and they raise so much money for the call and some other organizations just to try to help people in need. It's a really it wasn't like that when I played. There was probably I would say a little more hatred back then, and it's really become kind of a friendly community rivalry now. It was friendly maybe because it was a non-conference game for all those years once the trophy had. So I'm excited to play in Week 10. But like you said, that this schedule's tough. You know, with our new league, everybody's coached up. There's some really good football teams. That non-conference schedule. I mean, Atkins, I think they got a chance to make a run in 3A. Highland, this is they've been waiting on this year for a while, and Dardanelle coming off, like I said, a state runner-up finish. And so there's a lot of weeks before that one. But the thing about it that will be cool is, regardless of what type of season either one of us is having, you got that to look forward to Week 10, and it ought to be. I think it's going to be for playoff position, and it should be electric.
What about the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, we lost our entire defensive line and lost a couple of linebackers and a few DBs, so we're replacing a bunch defensively, kind of in the opposite position. Last year we had a lot that we had to replace on offense. This year it's on the defensive side, so we're still trying to figure out who fits in those pieces on the defensive line. I think we're starting to get the linebacker room solidified and having to move some pieces around in the secondary. So that's a big question mark coming into the year. I think we're going to be extremely aggressive and physical. We've been very physical at the camps we've gone to so far. Tackled pretty well in space. It's just getting that front solidified.
Yeah, and kind of going back to, after the tough non-con slate last year, you went on that run four or five games in a row in conference play. I talked about like finishing, but what also starting as well. That's kind of that was one of the opportunities. So what's been the message as far as that? Coming out game one and just making sure you're prepped from start to finish.
Yeah, I think it's so important the way that I was raised up in this business. Conference play is what matters, and so whether you're 3-0 or 0-3 in the non-conference, and if the scoreboard's turned on, we're playing to win, but the bigger picture is making sure you're getting better each week. So when that first conference game hits, that you're ready to go compete. Because at the end of the day, people remember how you finished the season, and so you've got to put yourself through conference play in position to make a run. But when you play those tough non-conference games, and all three of these teams we're going to play, they're extremely coached up and they're very physical, and that's what we need to see because the league has changed, and it's going to be a lot more physical, right at you football, and so I think that slate will help get us ready for that.
Yeah, so guys, I think I probably know at least one answer here, and we'll start down here. What is maybe that one or two games that you're looking forward to, whether it was one got away from you last year or just one you're looking forward to playing? What's that one that you maybe have circled?
Clinton's definitely number one. I mean, 10 years in a row, and now they're in our conference. This is a must-have going into the off-season, or the playoffs, excuse me. And I think the next one would be Bald Knob. They've been talking quite a bit for the last few years.
I also think Clinton, I'm happy that we get to get him like at the end of the season where we're like at our best, because at the start of the year we're sometimes just trying to figure things out, but now that's like when we're gelled together and like usually at our best. So definitely Clinton.
The obvious answer is Clinton. I mean, that whole week is just such a build-up. I mean, obviously the community, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I mean, last year there was a glitter bomb that went off in our locker room. Don't know what happened there, but I'm excited for Mayflower. Usually when I see the schedule, I'm not really like too worried or like deep into it, but I saw Mayflower's our senior night, so I want to go out there and get a good win on senior night.
Yeah, definitely Clinton. I mean, it's week 10 now instead of week 0, or not week 0, week 2, week 3, and now we'll have time to develop and hopefully not have any injuries, and definitely be a big game going into playoffs. But also Haskell Harmony Grove, new team this year. I'm really excited to play. It'll be a good game.
All right, we're gonna start down there and then bring it back over here. Favorite pregame meal before a game, and favorite warm-up song, pregame song that you listen to get you fired up. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Favorite meal, probably, sometimes we have chicken spaghetti. I really like chicken spaghetti. Some rolls and mac and cheese. It's probably what I like when we go to churches. And then a song, either some like Guns N' Roses or AC/DC or something like that. So.
Favorite meal? Obviously, the churches that feed us on Fridays are great, but I like to eat a little sweet before the game. Kind of just calms my nerves. Favorite song? Probably some Adele.
I mean, I'm pretty basic. I like maybe just like some chicken and mashed potatoes and stuff like that. But I don't know, either some rock or some rap gets me going before the game. Gets me locked in.
I'd say my favorite pregame meal is probably a pack of Skittles and a Monster Energy, and then Ella Langley really makes me want to knock somebody's head off.
That is the pregame meal of champions right there.
Well, we eat chicken and mac and cheese and green beans in a roll every Friday, so it's pretty. That was a Steve Jansky thing way back in the day at Heber Springs, and I've taken that with me everywhere I've gone. But I do now. I've cut regular Mountain Dews, but my whole career I've had a Mountain Dew at about 5 o'clock every Friday, so I'll probably do the zero sugar this year. And I can't listen to music. I just like to walk around and try to get my mind focused.
All right, fellas, great job. Really appreciate you coming back, and good luck this season.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, up next is the Mills U Comets. They are led by offensive coordinator Greg Hunter. And, Coach, I will pass it over to you to introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
All right, man. Today I got senior D tackle Cortez Carter, senior outside linebacker Corday Ratliff, senior safety Alan Hall, and senior safety Kentrell Mason. These guys are probably going to be the guys that lead us this year. Hopefully, they do a great job. I think they have been doing a great job. We're just looking to make great improvements this year, man. We're looking to play some good, hard-nosed, disciplined football, and hopefully reach the end goal that everybody wants.
Just talk about the overall excitement. I mean, gosh, in 3 of the past 4 seasons, double-digit wins, coming off of 10 last year, and then moving up to 5A. You were in 5A the previous cycle and then went down to 4, so quite a bit, not necessarily changes because you've been here before, maybe for some of these guys.
Right. Man, we're excited about going back to 5A. Man, we like 5A football. I know people probably think 4A is a smaller conference, but it's some hard-nosed football in 4A, and we're not running from it, but
we're excited about not having to travel far. Man, we're excited offensively, defensively. We think we got a lot better. We returned pretty much every starter this year, with the exception of some guys that moved away. Defensively, we got about 6 or 7 guys coming back, I think maybe, that are probably going to lead us. So we're going to be leaning on our defense a lot. Our offense, we're full of juniors, sophomores. Well, we got a couple of seniors this year now, but got a lot of guys returning pretty much the entire offense. So we're looking to be more explosive this year, play some exciting football. So.
And to the players, we'll go ahead and start down here. Just you look at really post-COVID, Mills has been really one of the most consistent programs, and you guys are kind of the next ones up that are trying to build on that. So just talk about your overall outlook coming into the season.
I apologize. My overall what, sir?
Just how the overall outlook coming into the season, and excited to get back out on the field.
Well, the expectations are high because the standard that we have placed these last couple years. And it's the same thing next season. Just go 1-0 every not even every game, just every play, every second of the game, every assignment, and that'll turn out into what we want.
Coming to the season, really just like trying to go 1-0 every game, really trying to go win it all. Whole bunch of discipline now. That's what we've been preaching all summer. So coming into this season, it's gonna be real different with how we approach it because we're gonna be way more disciplined. So I'm just excited to see how everything gonna go and going 1-0 every week, and whoever come in front of us is that.
Just honestly, just playing football. Everybody knows moving up from 4 to 5. They just doubting us, so we just gonna every play, every game, just show everybody that it's New Mills football, and we coming to win everything.
Coming to the season, we got to be more focused, more disciplined. We're going to go win it all, whoever step in front of us.
And Coach, you as the OC, you're breaking in a new quarterback. I guess played maybe a little bit less. I'm not really sure exactly how much, but nonetheless, a new quarterback. So just kind of talk about how that's going. You got a good bit of returning starters on offense in general, so I can imagine that makes at least the acclimation a little bit easier.
Yeah, so some changes being made. Recently it's been Maddox Parker who's been leading us. We got some guys that moved in. Got a kid from West Helena, KJ Gilchrist. He's moved in. He's trying to get acclimated, and him and Maddox are kind of battling it out. But we're excited for whoever it is back there that's going to be leading us this year. The experience is probably what's going to matter most. We're returning everything on the offensive line. We had 2 guys that started as freshmen last year. They've made tremendous leaps. Of course, we have TJ Talbot. Kentrell is going to play a lot of offense this year. Then we have another guy that moved up to Little Rock, moved into our district, and Jamie Young Reese. He's a 6'2", 185-pound receiver that transferred up from West Helena as well. So we're looking to be dominant. We're looking to be explosive and exciting offense. So there's a lot of experience there now, a lot of snaps that have been played within the group, and so I just think that we're going to be a lot better this year offensively.
2 quick questions to follow up on that, Coach. One, you talked about, and I really want to talk more of the conference side of things, but moving up to 5A. Previously, when you guys were in 5A, some of the issues was just the depth on that offensive line. You touched on it a little bit. If you can kind of touch on that some more as far as what you guys are expecting from each of those offensive linemen and kind of who those guys are going to be. And then the second one is, obviously, with the conference being a little more centrally located, you talked about the lack of travel. But I think that also adds to maybe a little bit of rivalry fun between more of the schools here in Central Arkansas, if all of you guys can talk about that.
Right. So depth in the trenches is going to be good this year. We have enough depth to where we've been able to move Cortez from right tackle to tight end, H-back, which is going to be huge for us in the run game. We got a lot of young guys that are able to play. They're really, really good. Cortez's little brother, Kyrie, started as a freshman last year. He'll be a sophomore at left tackle. Right now we have Devin Bell, who started at D tackle last year as a sophomore. He'll be at left guard. Right now we got Jace Ingram, who's a sophomore. He'll be starting at center. And then right guard, we have Amorian Moorhead, who was a freshman last year that started varsity for us. He's made tremendous leaps. And then we have Dontrell Austin, who's our lone senior on the offensive line. But even within that, we have a lot of guys that are playing on the D-line, about 4 or 5 of them that are rotating on the D-line that can also rotate on the offensive line as well. So we're looking to play a lot of guys this year. I think depth is one of the things we don't have to worry about this year. Usually we average about 35 to 40 kids a year on the team. Right now, I think the roster sits at about 59 or 60 total from skill to the trenches. So to answer your question, I think we'll be fine as far as depth is concerned this year. You know, we have a lot of guys that are going to be able to play and help us out. As far as the conference, I mean, it's an exciting conference. You know what I mean? The games are always packed when we're in 5A. You know, of course, we have our in-district rivals with Joe T and Maumelle, and you know, of course, Parkview is in the conference with us now, and that's always a matchup. So I mean, we're just excited to be playing the guys that everybody says, you know, are the teams to beat. You know what I mean? We want to show that, you know, Mills should be in that conversation no matter what conference we're in.
All right, guys, we're going to do a fun one. We're going to go from left to right. Favorite pregame meal and favorite song to kind of get you hyped before the game. Give me 1 second.
I try to eat a lot of carbs before the game, so I'm probably eating something like some type of Alfredo pasta. And my favorite song pregame, I have to say probably First Day Out by T Grizzly.
Favorite pregame meal, I really like sunflower seeds and Skittles. That's really it. Sunflower seeds and Skittles, probably a purple Gatorade. My favorite song on game day probably got to be In Control by NBA Youngboy.
Pre-game meal, I'm gonna keep it honest. I'm gonna go to McDonald's. I'm gonna give me a 10-piece chicken nugget meal and a little fry. And for the song, I like Drop 'Em by NBA Youngboy. That get me lit.
My pregame meal is a Subway sandwich, the foot long, and then my pregame song is Scrooly G, Picked Off by Scrooly G.
Coach, what about you?
I think one year, man, we had, it might have been last year, we had some type of barbecue sandwich from maybe, what was that place, Sims or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm not from here, so I don't know. But it was really, really good. I think my pregame song to get me in the mood is probably going to be Sideline Story by J. Cole. Yeah.
And for the players as well, as coach, you know, it's kind of pretty much an entirely new schedule from what you played last year. But we'll start down here. What's maybe that 1 or 2 games that you might be really looking forward to, especially, you know, being in the same area, not having to travel far, and probably knowing a lot of the guys that you're going to play for a long time?
I ain't trying to predict nothing, so I'm gonna just say, I'm ready for whoever just lined up in front of us.
Game 1 or 2 games I'm looking forward to. Joe T, October 2nd, and Jacksonville, October 30th. I just know for sure them 2 games, me and the captain Corday, we're gonna have to be a tandem for sure.
Let me see. It really don't matter who we play. I want everybody. Like, I want to strategize for everybody. Everybody can get it. And then, yeah, that's really it. Everybody. It ain't no select 2. Anybody who line up in front of us.
If I had to pick 2, I'd definitely say Joe T and Jacksonville, because we do know a lot of people who left Mills and went to Jacksonville. You know, we trash talk. Well, it's all love at the end of the day, but I like those because I believe those are going to be the best football environments out of all.
All right, guys, really appreciate y'all coming back, and good luck this season.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
All right, up next we've got the Maumelle Hornets. They're led by head coach Nick Vaughn. And Coach, I will pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Really excited for the season to start. We've had a very productive spring and summer. One thing that I said, if there was a negative about anything, is we're right about 55 to 60 right now. We're hopeful to get those numbers to continue to climb. But I tell you what, we've had, like I said, a really good spring and summer. Excited about the talent we have here. I think people are going to kind of write us off because of the transition, because of a variety of other things. But one thing these two will tell you is we're going to come ready to compete. We're going to be physical. We're going to play fast. We're going to be extremely fundamental, and we're going to get after people. That's our plan.
So obviously making the transition from Camden Fairview, what does that transition look like for you?
I've been familiar before Camden Fairview. I spent 3 years at Parkview as DC. Actually lived in Maumelle, and so I had time. I'm familiar with the area, kind of what had gone on previously a little bit. Knew Coach Horton, who is our current AD. Knew him when he was the head coach, and so the familiarity was there. There wasn't anything just weird about it. Knew they had talent. They've always had talent. And just looking for a new challenge, and it was an opportunity that I felt like myself and the family couldn't pass up. Really excited about being around these kids. They've been fantastic. They have not backed down from any challenge they've been put in front of, and just really excited about see where we can go.
So you look at the non-conference schedules, you start with Ozark, and then you play Sylvan Hills and Hot Springs. Some familiarity with Sylvan Hills and Coach Shucker there, and Hot Springs, a program that's really on the rise. What can you say about the non-conference?
Well, we wanted Ozark for a reason. Because of the physical challenge. We know they're going to be big. They're going to be physical up front. You guys have been around in the media, know that in 5A, to win at a high level, you got to be good up front on both O-line and D-line. And that's something we're going to hang our hat on to continue to develop our physicality up front. Ozark's going to be a great challenge for that. And then Sylvan Hills, obviously a program that's kind of on the rise or rebirth, I guess you could say. Very familiar with Coach Shucker and what he does. Matter of fact, we kind of joked. We ran into each other at team camp, and I said, man, I took this job to get away from you, and here you are following me. But just great people, great coaches, so we know we're going to get challenged by them as well. And Hot Springs is good. They're going to be extremely talented. We're going to be on the road to both of those schools, so it prepares us for down the road. And that's what we've talked about. Hey, we're going to challenge you early to see where we are. How do we fix it during the bye week and go into arguably the toughest conference in the state of Arkansas?
And to the players, Levi, we'll start with you. Just talk about the transition to Coach Vaughn. Obviously, had a lot of success down at Camden Fairview in Class 5A. So just since he's taken over and buying into his standards.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of young kids, so they have a new chance to really meet a new coach and be brought up their whole high school career with the new coach, and everybody's really bought in. There's no negative voices in the locker room really, and it really just seems like everybody's all has one mind and no conflicts, no nothing, just ready to work, ready to take on whatever challenge he has. Everybody's really bought into what Coach Vaughn's brought to his program.
Patrick, you want to say
I
anything?
just want to say, I think everybody really do got the right mindset on this season, and I would say defensively, like, we are almost there, and with me, coming off the edge like a Bronco, I think we're already there.
Yeah, and Coach, you talked about Maumelle maybe being a little bit overlooked. I look at your time at Camden. You came there after being a DC at Parkview, and I don't want to say that you guys were necessarily always overlooked, but people talk about Parkview because they went on that run, and maybe Hot Springs or Lakeside, and then you look at some of the other 5A teams. So being overlooked is maybe some of your teams not something they're not immune to, but you had multiple deep runs there, and so do you kind of look at that as maybe a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and use it as motivation?
Yeah, I mean, our mantra there was we're South Arkansas born and bred, and people tend to overlook it because of the lack of coverage, because, I mean, if you're here in Little Rock, you're going to cover the ones that are here every day that you see that, it's easy to go to Parkview's practice, Robinson's practice, and see these schools, go to Conway, go to Bryant, go to Benton, and it's a little bit harder to drive 2 hours and get that coverage. Whereas here, you know, I think there's so much competition in Central Arkansas, which is a good thing. It makes everybody better. We're not going to back down from that. You know, whatever we think we may lack in whatever department, we're going to overcome it. That's going to be our mantra. We're just not going to worry about the ifs, ands, or buts. We're going to put our heads down, go to work, and get after it. That's what we're going to do.
Levi, you've had a lot of experience playing quarterback for Mom. I think you played a lot of games your freshman year, if I remember. So you've been around this for a long time. Just we had a quarterback in here earlier that did that too, starting as a freshman. And no matter how good you are, it's hard to do. And so just talk about how the game has slowed down for you as each year has gone on.
Yeah, this is one thing I've been talking to with our sophomore quarterback coming up. We have a real good relationship. I've been telling them just each year it just always feels easier, and like you wish you could go into the last season you went to with the mindset you have now, with all the confidence you have now, all the experience. So this season I really feel like I'm able to be like the top gun in the locker room with especially with a lot of young kids, and I think I've earned the respect and they can see I'm knowledgeable about the game, and I really try to treat everybody the right way and try and uplift everybody and keep everybody in the right mindset. So.
Coach, first off, welcome to Maumelle. We're excited to have you. But first question, obviously having Levi when you come in, got to be huge for the offense, just for the continuity of the offense. But you lose a lot. Obviously, the offensive line, there's a lot of retooling going on there. The backfield, completely different for the most part from what we had last year. Talk about those two position groups, where that's at, and then obviously on the defensive side, you brought Ward here today. But talk about a little bit more in terms of what you're expecting out of the defense team.
What really surprised me kind of coming into this was when I really started digging into the roster was we're returning 2 on offense and 2 on defense. So we're replacing everybody. And then when you really start diving into it, which is I think why people are going to, and I get it, I totally get it, why people are kind of forgetting about us a little bit is because all the gaps that we've got to fill. And the guys that we're filling them with, they're either a sophomore that hasn't done it or they're upperclassmen that haven't done it when it really matters, right? They may have played in a JV game. They may have played a little bit of varsity in a mop-up session, but that's about it. We don't have many guys that have started 10 games in a season. And so because of that, you got to lean on the ones that have done it. And we've had, these two and I have had conversations about just that. The one thing that I will say about these two and brag on them, they're force multipliers. You hear about the Tom Brady's, and I'm not saying you're the GOAT, but we may get there. But you hear about those special guys, they're force multipliers in the sense that they make everybody around them better. The moment he steps in the huddle, everybody shuts up, they listen, and they go. All he has to do is make one comment to one guy, and the attitude changes. All of a sudden, how they run that route changes a little bit more. Same thing with him. He comes on the field, he says one thing, and the 2-3 guys around him all of a sudden raise their level of play just because he's been there. And that's not trying to blow their heads up, but it's kind of where we are. We got to lean on what we have. I think we have a talented group of kids, a very talented sophomore class, kind of what Levi was talking about. And one of them's, honestly, we have, I think, 5 sets of brothers. Each of them have a brother that are sophomores that have a chance to be really special here. And because of that, and the environment we've kind of built, this family mentality, how they build each other up, it's going to give us a fair shake. I mean, people are going to be surprised if we can stay healthy and we continue to progress like I think we will. We're going to surprise a lot of people.
Levi, this one's for you. You kind of led me into this question, but talking about brothers, and I want to talk with you a little bit about the wide receiver room. Had some great pieces there last year. Obviously, your brother got some time as a freshman, kind of got thrown out to the fire at times. But talk about those receivers and how well you're working with those guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of new faces, a lot of kids that I would say lack experience, but we don't lack any skill. We have a lot of kids that are going to surprise people, make plays, make some really good highlighted plays, and everybody's once again just bought in to what we built and bought into our new OC, and really willing to work and willing to move as one instead of just having their own personal agenda, worried about their own self. They're really bought into trying to build the offense. We have Isaac, which got good experience last year, and now he can step into more of that leader role to lead his fellow sophomores, which we have a lot of
trying to just show them how to be on varsity, and he's a really good leader. He's really good to just show them just little things he picked up from last year just by getting that experience and learning from Jacob and Jackson last year. And we have Jackson Walker, who was playing basketball last year, and he's just a freak athlete. Fast, he can jump, he can catch, he can track the ball. I'm really excited to show what we can do this year on offense.
All right, guys. Going from left to right, we'll start down here. Favorite pregame meal and favorite song or artist to listen to get you hyped before the game. All right, give me 1 second. All right. Also, give me your first name, your last name as well.
All right, I'm Levi Warrior. I would say my favorite pregame meal, it would probably be my mom's chicken Alfredo. She likes to make it for the whole team. She's a very good cook. Everybody loves it. She also likes to make a apple crumble dessert almost, and it's very good, and everybody loves it. So, and then I'm not really sure. We usually just listen to whoever's on the aux on the speaker. I like being one with the team usually rather than having my headphones on and listen to my own stuff. I like feeling the team getting locked into that mode, and also just feeling the like everybody just getting hyped for the game, getting ready, feeling the tension and everything just rising, getting ready, the adrenaline, just feeling like one as a team.
I gotta say my favorite meal is probably his mom's pasta. She does make some pretty good pasta and some peach cobbler too. And as for the artists, a whole lot of us like listening to YoungBoy, but to me, I'm kind of more of a Drake guy. So yeah.
Is there a song in particular that really gets you going by him? I know he's got a lot.
Probably Weekend.
Coach, what about you? Pre-game meal and any songs that you listen to?
I can honestly say this is going into year 25 for me, and I don't know that I've actually had a pregame meal in probably 23 years, to be honest with you. I'm a non-pregame meal guy to the point where it's not really a nervous stomach, but it's just, I don't like the feel of it. So usually it's a Powerade or Gatorade, and if I should have brought one with me to set it on here for free publicity. I'm a 5-hour energy guy, usually on game day, and I know what people are going to say. I'm usually a 3 a day on game day, so I'll have one in the morning, one at right at pregame meal, and then depending on how the game's going, I may have one at halftime. But we'll just kind of go from there, and that's just kind of how we are. And coaches that have worked with me, they can vouch for that very much so.
Yeah, that's the overwhelming consensus, I think, is coaches don't eat before. That was like my coach. But all right, got it. Patrick and Levi, as we finish up here, what is maybe one or two games that you're looking forward to this year, whether it was one that you maybe won, but you individually, felt like that you left some on the table, but also maybe one that you lost that you're ready to have a chance at again?
I'm gonna go first. I'm looking forward to playing Robinson in Jacksonville because, we did have teammates that transferred over to those schools, but Robinson is our rivalry team, so, that's kind of a game that everybody kind of waiting for. So
Week 10.
Yeah. And as for Jacksonville, I'm just kind of ready to shut their run game down. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also excited to play Robinson. Pretty much every year we played them, or I've played them at least since I've been in Maumelle. Hasn't really gone our way. I'm ready to show we can play a good game with good coaching staff that's going to put us in position to win, and we can just go out there and make the right plays and finish it.
All right, fellas, really appreciate y'all coming. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final team to conclude session 1 of day 2 is the Nashville Scrappers. They're led by head coach Brad Cheshire. And coach, I will pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Thank you all for having us. Really appreciate it. I guess this is my third or fourth year to do this, and this is a very special event, I believe, for all of our high school football coaches and players. I mean, just yesterday I was watching live on YouTube and listening to all of these great coaches talk about their kids, and so it's always fun to listen to. And big thank you to First Community Bank for hosting this, and so very thankful. Say it every year. Very thankful for the opportunity to promote our kids and promote our school district and our community, and talk about our community. Unfortunately, we can only bring up to 4 seniors, and I have a lot of seniors at home that deserve to be sitting up here as well. But I'm going to introduce these 4 seniors that I brought to you today, starting to my left, your right. Jadon Williamson, who plays nose guard for us. Bryce Perrin, who plays some receiver, some defensive back, plays some running back as well. Luke Lacey, right here to my right, plays center, plays some linebacker for us. And then DJ Jefferson at the end plays quarterback for us. Very, very thankful for these 4 and what they mean to our program. 4 special kids that mean a lot to us and help lead our program. But these 4, again, I want to make this very clear. These 4 are not the only seniors in our locker room that are leaders. There's a lot more that are at home that add a lot of value to our program. So thankful again. At that time, open it up for questions.
Well, you guys had a phenomenal season, and you look at winning the conference in your first year leading your alma mater. I know that it goes without saying, y'all are hungry after the way that last year ended. Had some injuries in the postseason, and so and few people know the standard of this program like you do. What has been the mindset, the message going into year 2 and then throughout the offseason?
The standard doesn't change. The standard has been staked, and I mentioned that a year ago, probably in this room. But the standard doesn't change. We've got to continue to grow, continue to get better, and continue to focus on being the best in the state at every single thing that we do. Yes, you're correct. We had a successful season last year, but winning a district championship, I was just telling Wes Moore this outside during his interview. Winning a district championship is a expectation every single year. That used to be the norm. There's a ton of district championship plaques that sit right behind me on the shelf. And that's where they stay. But anybody that comes in, they don't point at those and they don't want to talk about those. They want to talk about the big one, and so, but it was a successful season. It was good to get back on top in the district. We had a rough non-conference, losing to Magnolia, losing to Dardanelle, losing to Dardanelle in that third non-conference game, losing to them in a very close game, one that I still believe we had an opportunity to win. I think that really helped us going into the bye week from a confidence standpoint. And then I guess we won 7 in a row. Starting out conference with the powerhouse Arkadelphia, who was a very good football team, a very good football game, if you got to watch it. And, we just rolled from there. And then, it makes me sick to my stomach to talk about the playoffs last year. That's 2 years in a row. And obviously I wasn't here for the first round with Pocahontas in the first, I guess that would have been in 24. But got to experience it in 25. And it's a sick feeling in your stomach because when you're in my shoes and you're from Nashville and you grew up having so much success, you feel like you let the community down, and I feel like I let the kids down, But again, all credit goes to Pocahontas. Those guys, those coaches did a great job. I thought their kids played harder than I saw on tape all season, and so credit to those guys. They're coached well. They play extremely hard, but that was disappointing. you can say successful season, but then at the end of the day, losing the first round, that's a disappointing season, and to our standards, Kyle. And so we've got to move forward. I mean, we're not going to look back in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward, and this is a new team, just like everybody else has, and so. We're going to keep working and keep moving forward, and we have a really good team coming back. We lost a ton of good players, but we have a lot of good ones coming back and a lot of young ones that are going to step up and fill those positions. And I know I can speak for not only me, but for these kids and our coaches at home. We're excited about this season.
So if you have Jefferson at quarterback, and then you have Hobson, who played some quarterback last year, really just an all-around great athlete. What can you say about that offense?
So, DJ went down with a knee injury the day before our very first game versus Magnolia. And, DJ has faced a lot of adversity over his football playing career. I mean, from 8th grade up, has faced a lot of adversity and just continues to fight and continues to come back strong. And so he has done a really good job of doing his physical therapy and his rehab, and right now he's stronger than ever. When he went down, Jacoby Hobson, who was a sophomore last year, stepped into that position. We threw him to the wolves. He handled that very well. Hop, one of his biggest strengths is his feet. I mean, he's going to beat you on his feet. Obviously last year everybody knows that we were going to run the football. We didn't throw it very well. We didn't have a lot of completions and a lot of receiving yards, but we were able to run the football extremely well. And one thing that probably the strength of our team is our offense right now. Offensively, I love where we are. Obviously, we're not perfect. We still have a long way to go. But offensively, the offensive line position, we return 4 or 5 starters. And then, we return pretty much our backfield. We lose All-State running back Tucker Dixon, who was a good one. But, we return our backfield. We return some receivers. But with DJ and Hop on the field at the same time, it's special. And when I evaluate those things and like through the spring and the summer, and I'm looking at personnel and where kids need to be, especially offensively, me being a defensive-minded guy, and I have been for 15 years now, I would hate to defend DJ and Hop on the field at the same time. That's tough. It is, and I'm not going to get into too much of kind of what we're doing there, but you're going to see both of them on the field at the exact same time on Friday nights.
And to the players, DJ, we'll just go ahead and start with you down here and go down. But you listen to Coach talk about the standards, and you guys know growing up there what the standards of this program is. But just on top of that and knowing what the Nashville community expects from you guys, but also at the same time the bad taste from last year, the way that ended, how much has all of that driven you guys? And when a workout gets hard or it's hot outside, just how ready you are to get out and show yourselves this season?
Yeah, it just pushes us harder. Every practice, just knowing what happened last year. Every practice, we kind of just come in with a better mindset than last year, knowing that it can all just go away that fast. And just really to see how important all the work that we put in the summer just pays off.
Yeah, like you said, last year is not what we expected and not how we roll around here. And it just drives us every day, and when it's hot out, it's hot summer and everything like that, and yeah.
Coming off of a first-round exit, it really means something to us because that's not what we're used to. Like Coach said, the standard is state, and obviously first-round exit, that's not what that is. And so it's really driving and motivating just to look back on our past seasons and not want that same outcome.
Us losing last season, I can say it helped us as a team develop into knowing it can all be taken away like that. Just we have a better mindset this year, and work ethic's better, and us as a team we develop more.
Coach, I know you talked about how you're a defensive-minded guy. I know you love talking about defense. Your offense you expect to be pretty electric. What do you see from the defensive side of the ball so far?
So we lose. I guess we return. We lose our linebackers. We lose all three of them, and we return one starter in the secondary. So somehow, we've had 3 7-on-7s in July. Somehow, right now, we're like 9-2, and I'm not. But those I guess that'd be 7. Those back 7 guys, we have some good players. excuse me, filling those positions, and they're going to continue to get better and continue to grow every week. But our strength is probably our defensive line. We return Jadon up front, who there's only one person that could probably block him, and that would be me if I had pads on. But nobody. I mean, it's hard to block that dude. You've got to put 2 dudes on him, maybe 3, and so. And then we return senior Jalen Staggers, who's not here today. He at the defensive end position, a kid that had a couple defensive touchdowns last year at the defensive end position, a big crucial one versus Arkadelphia on a scoop and score. And we return Aiden Bradley, who's going to be a junior that started on the defensive line for us as well. So our defensive line is a strength for us defensively. We have to continue to improve in those inexperienced positions at the linebacker and secondary level.
All right, guys, we're going to start from left to right. Coach, I also want your take on this as well. Favorite pregame meal, all right, and then second, favorite song or artist that you listen to get you hyped up on game days. Give me 1 second.
It's a lot of pregame meals that we have, but I have to say my favorite, probably when we have barbecue. And before every game, I got to listen to NBA Youngboy, I ain't gonna lie.
I would say my favorite pregame meal, one time one of our fans from our community made tacos, like homemade tacos, and those were so good. And before the game, I like to listen to, I'd say Drake.
My pregame meal would probably be something like chicken tenders and some mashed potatoes and some kind of vegetable. Pretty simple. But music-wise, I don't listen to much, but when I do, it's something kind of AC/DC kind of in that area.
My favorite pregame meal got to be spaghetti, man, because it's good quantity. But when it comes to music, I like listening to like Roddy Trey or like Fat Mac pregame.
Well, first of all, in the pregame meals, we are very fortunate to have a community of local churches that feed us. And they don't do it every week. We still have some local community members that choose to feed us, so we're very thankful for them. But probably I try to feed these kids what they normally eat. Back when me and Kyle were in school, it was like you had to have this every Friday. But now these kids get sick off of it. But just the old chicken strips and a baked potato is good. So I like when those churches or those community members, when they feed us the chicken strips, those are perfect. When it comes to music, it used to be nice when you were an assistant coach because you could listen to a lot. But now what I have found in the head coaching spot is everybody before the game needs you, and referees are coming in. So you never have time just to sit and listen to music. There's always something. But if I had to choose, I'm probably putting Linkin Park in. That's what I used to listen to when I was a player, right before we went out. And so, but I try to stay calm. I'm more of a calm coach. I don't get fired up too much. So maybe some opera music sometimes. I'm kidding, but Lincoln, I'd have to say Linkin Park. But I like all types of music. These guys have introduced me to a whole lot in our weight room. Every single band they're talking about, NBA Youngboy, we're going to jam NBA Youngboy in the weight room. We're going to jam Fat Mac, who I was just introduced to probably about 3 weeks ago. Now, it's all clean. I get all the edited. And then, Jadon, who was the other group you just said?
Rowdy Trey.
Rowdy Trey, that's new. Just now hearing of it. So I'm going to have to go on the way home to Nashville here in a little bit. I'm going to get on Apple Music and make sure that we've got some Rowdy Trey in the weight room starting tomorrow. But no, I listen to all kinds of music. But I wish I had time to really listen to some before the game, but I just don't.
So you mentioned the community aspect. Nashville is a very much close-knit community. What can you say about the community, how they've received you in these last couple of years, being alumni leading?
There's no place I'd rather be. I'm just being honest. You get a lot of coaches that talk about, hey, I love this place. This is the only place I'd ever go. But I mean it. I mean, and I can say that with a lot of confidence, and a lot of people would believe me just because I'm from there. And there's no place I would rather be. This is it. I love wearing the Scrapper Star. If you can't tell, there's about 100 of them on my shirt right now. And I like to stand out. These stars on my shirt stand out, and which is our school district theme this year. But I love our community. I love everyone in our community. We have the best administration in the state. We have the best teachers in the state. We have the best students in the state. We have the best community in the state, and I believe that. And it's a special time. And if you haven't experienced it, you need to come down one Friday night and experience that.
Last one as we wrap up here, guys. We're going to start down here this time. What's that? And Coach knows I'm going to ask this. What's that one game, one or two games that you just have on, if we're just kind of talking about the season overall here that maybe got away from you last year, or you maybe individually just left some meat on the bone? What's that one for you guys, one or two?
Man, Darnell for sure. Like, it was a very close game. It was a nail biter, but that game right there, I still think about. Could have got that.
Yeah, there's a couple games that come to mind, like Arkadelphia. Obviously, they're I guess you'd say our rival. Leading up to the game, the night before, can't sleep. I get insomnia, whatever you want to call it. But it's good to know you have a band of brothers next to you that you can trust.
I would say Magnolia for sure. I think we could have executed that way better than what we did, and obviously Pocahontas too, losing them 2 years in a row in the first round. I'd like to get that one back.
I had to say Magnolia too, just simply off the fact of what happened to me before the game, and that night still haunts me, that game. I just think about it a lot.
All right, well, Coach, fellas, really appreciate y'all coming back. Good luck this season.
Thanks again for having us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That will conclude session one. We'll be back at 12:30.
Arkansas Select Volleyball Club focuses on personal and athletic development of our student athletes and creates a safe, positive, and effective learning environment in which student athletes strive to achieve individual excellence within a team dynamic. We view the volleyball court as our classroom, transformed to teach lessons of character, discipline, respect, responsibility, accountability, commitment, leadership, work ethic, teamwork, courage, integrity, communication, the importance of sacrifice and sportsmanship, plus many other important values on and off the court. Search Arkansas Select Volleyball online or visit our Facebook page, Arkansas Select Volleyball, to find out more.